That's not the way, BG. You'll bring a whole military machine down on our heads.
Extraordinary actor.
Phenomenal performance.
Frank Silvera. Very few ever knew he was black. If you enjoy watching movies and television, I'm sure you recognize this man's face, a phenomenal and extremely versatile actor. This man played every role you can imagine. He appeared in some of Hollywood's biggest films. He guest starred in television's most greatest shows. He was a highly successful black actor in the 50s and the 60s who, because of his light-skinned appearance, transcended race and ethnicity in his performances. Frank Silvera was cast in Latin parts, Native American. He played mostly white roles, and every now and then he would play what he really was, black, and no one ever knew the difference. A little-known fact is that Silvera was the first black man to kiss a white woman in a major Hollywood film, Stanley Kubrick's The Killer's Kiss in 1955.
Later, Gordon. Final record. Tonight, but tell us a bitter pill indeed. This was the fight for him to prove his question of the sweet name of the Sterner stuff.
In fact, no other black actor during the 50s and 60s worked more than him in television and film, not even Sidney Poitier. Today, you might compare his body of work to the likes of Sam Jackson. Frank began his career on stage with the Harlem American Negro Theater and with the Actors Studio, studying alongside Marlon Brando and Steve McQueen. He would eventually become the founder of theater companies of his own, including the Theater of Being and the Harlem-based Frank Silvera's Workshop, co-founded with a young Morgan Freeman. It's time to recognize one of the most versatile black actors to ever take the stage and screen. Black History Mini-Doc salutes the great Frank Silvera.
Hello and welcome to the Frank Silvera Writers Workshop's new play reading series. We're thrilled to partner with the Billie Holiday Theater to bring you this series. Right after today's reading, we invite you to participate in a moderated critique session. This is a unique opportunity to share your immediate thoughts and feedback directly with the playwright. And now, without further ado, enjoy the show.
Tomaine Poison, a full-length play by Dr. Janice Liddell. Synopsis: a timely exploration of race and racial interactions in the South, set in Greater Birmingham, Alabama in 2013, Marianne Williams and Mary Lou LeBlanc each have histories, though very divergent, in the Birmingham Civil Rights movement of the 1960s. Act 1, Scene 1, rising in the LeBlanc's very expensively decorated living room.
Mom, I forgot to mention, a friend's coming over to rehearse the skit we're doing for social studies. We present it Monday.
Great, Colette. Your friends are always welcome. There's pizza in the freezer. Invite her to dinner if you want. We'll order an in. I'm assuming your friend's a girl?
Yeah, of course she's a girl. We'll probably just have the pizza. We won't be practicing that long.
You don't have friends here enough. When I was a girl, our house was always the center of activity. Everyone in the neighborhood congregated at our house. Ah, those were the days.
I'll bet, Mom.
Do I know your friend? What's the skit? I can help with lines. You know, I was quite the actress in high school. Loved the dramatic arts more than anything. Where in the world could I be now if I'd pursued that dream? Broadway, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Mom, you're always talking about your acting days. Why don't you drop it? If you loved it, you would have just talk about it so much you'd do something. Like join one of those groups that does plays and stuff. Talk.
Don't be rude, Chandler. But that's not a bad idea. I might check out one of the community play groups. It's never too late to pursue a dream. That's what everybody says, isn't it? Colette, what's yours about?
Oh, well, it's not a play, just a skit, a short thing. Might even be called a spoken word piece.
Spoken word? Girl, all words are spoken in a play, even a skit. What else can you do with them unless it's a musical? I was in a couple of musicals when I was in high school, Oklahoma, and my absolute favorite, Cats. My absolute favorite play of all time.
We know, Mom. You played Grisabella.
Yes, the best role in the play. Memory, all alone in the moonlight. I can smile at the
Okay,
old
Mom.
days.
We know all about it. How you played Grisabella and stole the show.
Why do you have to spoil everything? Why can't you just let me enjoy my memories? I was good. In fact, I was very good, Chandler. I'll show you a thing or two when I get into a theater company. I'll show you a thing or two. Too bad you're not doing a musical, Colette. But given your voice, maybe not too bad at all. So what's it about? Did you write it? How many characters? Any singing at all?
Mom, please, let her answer something. Let her tell you all about it. Ma, so you're gonna help Colette and her friend, huh? Did she tell you about her friend? Sis, did you tell Mom anything about your friend?
Why don't you mind your own damn business? Nobody asked you anything.
Hold on a minute. Don't get so grown around here.
Yes, sis, don't cuss. Just tell Mom about your friend.
My goodness, can the two of you stop acting like children?
Her friend's brother is one of the star players on the team.
On your team? Who is it? Do I know him? I know Charles and Guy. Who else is a starter? I thought all the other good players were Negro.
Negro?
What's with him? So who is it? Do I know the family?
Mom, nobody. Absolutely nobody says Negro anymore. And no, you don't know the family.
But you've seen her brother play lots of times.
Who? Just tell me who it is. Stop playing games. What's the family's name?
Williams, but you probably never noticed him.
Williams. I know there's a Negro boy with that name. I remember him because he has a French first name. Antoine, isn't it? Of course, we know he's not French. That's the only Williams I know. Who else is it, Colette?
Yeah, Ma, his name is French, phonetically speaking.
What? What does that mean? Is it the Negro you're talking about?
Ma, please. Black or African American, not Negro. Do we have to go through this every time we talk about black people?
Who's talking about them? Certainly not me. You don't find me bringing them into my conversations, but when you talk about them, I will call them what they are. Is it the Negro you're talking about? Is that who you're talking about?
Only one Williams on the team.
So, Mom, did Colette tell you about her friend?
Let's stop playing games here. Are you both trying to tell me that Colette's friends is a Negro?
Please. She's black or African American, but not a Negro. You know that, Mom. You know no one uses that word anymore. Why do you do that? You don't use that word anyplace else.
Don't try to change the subject. Are they black? No. They're brown, and they are not Africans, so they must be Negro. Check the last census, and you'll see that they can be called black, African American, or Negro. I choose Negro because that's what they are and have always been. I've called them what I call them for as long as I've been calling them anything. You should just be glad I don't call them what Mama and Daddy call them, or even what your daddy calls them.
Mom, please, don't show your racism like that.
Why should I stop calling them what they are because of some fad? You know that rabble-rousing Jesse Jackson started that African-American crap anyway. Rush Limbaugh said so just last week. I just hope you're not telling me that's what this friend is. One of them.
Oh, so you guessed it? Colette's friend is really one of them.
What's he saying, Colette? What does he mean? Is he saying that your so-called friend isn't a white girl? Is it true? There are only 2 or 3 of them at Springs. How could you end up friending one of them?
Actually, there are quite a few. Couple of dozen at least. You'd probably call it an invasion. But didn't you vote to expand the diversity program and offer more minority scholarships? Didn't you? And I'll bet the committee called them Black or African Americans then. So what did you say? That you wanted to give more Negro scholarships? Well, mother dear, I guess you got what you want.
Yeah, you sounded just like Dad when you said that.
Said what? Oh, I never sound like him. Never.
Chandler, he would have said the same thing. You wanted to give some Negro scholarships. Well, I guess you got what you want.
He's a racist, Colette. He hates black people. I don't, so don't compare me to him.
Maybe you like them because he hates them.
So, is that why Colette likes them? Is that why you and Nzinga are doing this skit together? Because Dad wouldn't want you to.
That really doesn't matter. What matters is that you and this Negro girl are partners.
African American, Mom, please. Or don't bother to talk to me about it.
Or don't bother to talk to you? What in the world? We'll talk about it if I want to talk about it. I can tell you one thing, little missy. I sure don't expect a diversity program to land in my living room. How well do you know these people? I didn't intend for this to be the price I pay for a doggone vote. Have you ever been in their home? I certainly hope not. Why am I just hearing about this girl?
Mom, calm down. The reason you're just hearing about her is because of how you're acting right now. This is the 21st century, and you're acting like it's the 1940s or 50s. You weren't even born then. I don't understand you. And Zinga's coming over to practice our lines for the skit. She's not trying to move into the damn neighborhood.
You just better watch your language, little lady. Did you get that from her? And what in the world is what kind of name is that? See, that's one of the main problems with them. They don't even know how to name their children. How do they expect their kids to get anywhere with such names? I don't even know how you learn to say them. Ridiculous.
It's the name of an ancient African queen. Be like naming a white girl Victoria or Marie Antoinette, huh?
No, it's not. Not the same at all. Don't be confused, dear. Please don't compare anything about us with Africans. We have a history to uphold. British and French queens were real royalty. And having the nerve to name that boy a French name?
I told you, his name just sounds French. It's a black name. It's Antoine. A-N-T-W-A-N.
What? What in the world? What did I just tell you? They don't know a darn thing about naming their children. Might as well be Ant Worm or something. Just plain backwards.
You don't even know him or Nzinga. You don't know a thing about them, Ma. You're just as bad as Dad.
So I guess that means you knew all about these shenanigans? Are you good friends with her brother? Is that what this is about? She's coming here to practice lines with Colette. That's probably just an excuse. I bet she's really coming to see you. Is that right, Colette? Is it, Chandler?
Mom, you are really spacing. What a leap. I barely know this girl. I barely know her at all. I'm not even sure how you came up with that, but just to show you that's not what's happening, I won't even be here when she comes. I'm heading out to play some basketball.
Are you saying you couldn't like a black girl, Chandler? Is that a little dad I hear coming out?
What? Where is that coming from? I never said anything about that.
Well, could you?
But that has nothing to do with this. Nothing at all. Oh, could you date a black boy?
Don't bother to answer that, either of you. We will not have any of that going on in this family. In fact, that's exactly why the races need to remain separate.
Mom, nobody's trying to meet up with anybody. Get that out of your head. We're really finishing up the skit. It's due for social studies on Monday. The script is upstairs, or what we have so far if you need to see it. Trust me, Zinga is not interested in your stupid son.
What? Stupid? Chandler would be a great catch for anybody. I know your little Negro friend knows this. Poor folks know good blood and good money, that's for sure. Next, she'll be trying to get her grimy little hands into our pocket. She's probably even trying to get pregnant and say it's Chandler's. It wouldn't be yours now, would it? Trust me, I know these folks.
Mom, you don't know a thing about black people. Not a single thing. Anyway, if she was trying to get pregnant, it definitely wouldn't be Chandler's. He'll play ball with him, but that's about as far as anything goes.
What? What are you talking about? I'm not a racist. Dad is a racist. Hopefully you can tell the difference.
If you say so, just go. But you can take your mother with you. If I'd known all this negativity was going to be in the air, we would have practiced at school. Or I would have gone to her house.
Her house? Her house? Where does she live? Probably over there in North Birmingham. You definitely would not have gone to her house. I've never been in that neighborhood, and I'd better not ever hear of your little Fanny going over there either.
Really, Mom? And you say you know them, huh? You can say that, and you've never even been there.
Well, have you ever been?
Plenty of times.
Oh, my Lord. I can't believe this. I don't even know my own children these days. I don't have to go to North Birmingham to know what it's like. They show it almost every night on the news. Not a week goes by that there's not some robbery, murder, some man killing his wife or his neighbor. Always something over there. Always. I had better not hear about either one of you going over there. My goodness, I can't believe it. Have you really been over there, Chandler? What in the world is so funny? You think Murder and Mayhem is funny?
No, Mom, I don't. But you are. I've been over there plenty of times. And believe it or not, I'm still here.
Oh my God. My dear God. When have you been over there? Who did you go with? I'm surprised you made it out of that war zone alive. Ugh. And you know they hate white people. Oh Lord, we could have been hearing about you on the 11 o'clock news. I think I need to sit down.
Ma, that's where the best pickup basketball games are. Right over there at Marconi Park. Not only that, but the Civil Rights Museum is over there. Ma, the famous Civil Rights Museum. Remember that place?
The Civil Rights Museum. Why do I care about it? Anyway, I don't have to go there to see it. I saw it on PBS. That was more than enough for me. None of that stuff has anything to do with me anyway. Not with any of us.
One thing is right, Mom. You probably should have stayed with your acting. You probably could have been a real star. You got drama oozing out of your pores.
What are you saying? That I don't have a reason to be concerned about your welfare? I am not acting. You don't know these people like I know them.
Mom, you don't know them at all. And Chandler only knows them on the basketball court. Have you ever been to any of their houses?
Why do I need to go to their houses? I do go over there. You don't even do that.
Well, I don't drive, and I don't have a car. But when I get my license...
Oh, that will be over my dead body. You will definitely not take yourself anywhere near that place. Chandler, it's your job to protect your sister. I don't want to catch either of you over there.
You won't have to worry about that, Mom. You'd have to go over there to catch us.
You don't know them at all, Mom. I see you at school pretending to be so tolerant, but you're not at all, are you? You don't say Negro there, do you?
Look, this has nothing to do with me. I'm trying to protect you two. It doesn't matter what I call them or don't call them. I tell you, they just aren't part of my world. Well, except to vote for the scholarships.
With the way you feel, I don't understand why you voted for the scholarships. That's inviting more of them, isn't it? I really don't get that.
It's what's expected in this day and age. Certainly not my choice, but that's just how it is.
How many black people have you talked to? I mean, really had a conversation with? Talked about religion or politics or even just food or whatever. After that black housekeeper that lasted a week, well, I don't remember a single black person coming to our house to even work. Why? Because Dad doesn't want black people around the house at all?
Right, but he doesn't mind the Mexicans, does he?
I can't believe the both of you are teaming up against me on this issue. You never agree on anything.
Well, at least you could have black people working for us. What could be wrong with that?
See, Chandler, that's one of those racist things that reminds me of Dad. Makes me sick to the stomach.
Dad is racist. He wouldn't want black people at all around our house.
Oh, so it's not racist to not want to date a black girl, but to have black people working for us is okay? I think you need to check your own attitude about race.
What? Oh, Miss Race Relations. You think you got it all together because you're working on a project with a black girl. I guess she hasn't even told you about the play yet. I know you want to know what it's about.
Well,
what?
the play Colette, what is it about?
Oh, it's about the 1963 Civil Rights Movement.
That's why she thinks she's so liberal all of a sudden.
What? The Civil Rights Movement? Why in the world would you want to do a play about that? I don't know why you don't just let those sleeping dogs lie. Couldn't you find a play about something more pleasant than that? A happy play.
Then she wouldn't be Miss Racial Tolerance of the Year.
Say what you want, Chandler. We're actually doing it to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the movement. It's this year, you know. But of course, you don't know. Anyway, we thought it'd be appropriate.
We? Who the hell is we? How did you get with her on this project anyway? Were you assigned? Did you two just volunteer? Why didn't you end up with...
You're asking the right questions now, Mom.
Mom, please. Chandler, why don't you go to your basketball game and improve race relations in North Birmingham?
You can still write about something happy, not that. You know why they used to call Birmingham the Magic City? I'll bet you don't. You could have written a play about that because not many people these days know why. You think we have the Magic City Arts Festival and the Magic City Brew Fest, Magic City Blues Festival for nothing? Writing a play about how we got to be the Magic City would interest so many more people than it would be so avant-garde.
Oh, is that one of your theater words, Mom? Sounds great. Why don't you use that to help Colette revise her play?
Shut up, Chandler. It's bad enough you're working with a Negro girl, but the Civil Rights Movement, oh my God. I can't believe this. And wait until your father hears about it. Oh dear, dear.
You're right, sis. This is your battle. But you can't say I didn't warn you. I'm out of here.
Chandler Gerard LeBlanc, you better not be going over to North Birmingham when we have scads of the best basketball courts in our own neighborhood. You just better not be.
Just let him go, Mom. He doesn't get out of Cherokee Springs. He's liable to just be like Dad. And you.
Like us? What? You don't know what you're talking about. You're getting yourself into something that will backfire on you. We've protected you, Colette. You don't have a clue about race relations in Birmingham. And there's no need for anything to change.
It's not the same Birmingham it was when you were a kid. Things have already changed, Mom. If you got out of Cherokee Springs more, you'd know that.
And how would I know? Exactly where have you been, little missy?
Well, nowhere yet, but I do know everything is different. And Zinga and I are good friends, and if she invites me to her house, I want to go.
Over my dead body. If your father was to hear you say that, oh my God. I'd better not ever hear of you going over there. Bad enough your brother plays basketball with them, but then he's a boy and people expect that.
Not only racist, Mom, but sexist too? I'm glad he's going. You should listen to yourself, Mom. We do know some of the history, don't we? Isn't that why you and Dad moved to Cherokee Springs? Because of civil rights? Why don't you let today be the start of you changing with the times?
Don't you dare talk to me like you're the all-wise one. You don't know a damn thing. Our move here didn't have anything to do with them. Not a thing. What I still don't understand is what in the world would you two, a black girl from North Birmingham and a white girl from here, have to write a play about? I do not understand that.
Mom, I know quite a bit about the civil rights movement now. I learned mostly everything from Nzinga. I sure didn't learn it from school, and I didn't learn a thing from home. Nzinga learned so much from home, especially from her grandmother. All we learn about at Springs is who Dr. Martin Luther King is, and that's only because we have a holiday for him.
And that's more than enough. There's not much else to learn, and even if you learn it, how's it going to help? You'll never need to know anything about them. I can tell you that. I've gotten along just fine, and so has your dad.
Well, that's not what I think. And that's why me and Nzinga...
Whatever it is, and Colette, she's got you speaking ghetto already, and my lord, that name.
Nzinga, Mom. Nzinga. Anyway, you're right. We figured not many people could imagine a black girl and a white girl in our class writing a play together. Well, a skit anyway. About civil rights, period. So we thought it would be so cool.
Cool? What the hell? Who the devil thought it was so cool first? That was probably you, since you've been trying a lot for shock value lately. That tattoo you tried to get on your back and all those holes in your ear. But this tops the cake. I'm not sure I can forgive this one. The civil rights period. Oh, Lord, your grandparents would probably have a real conniption fit if they knew you were working on this project with that Negro girl and that you two were writing about the civil rights.
Black girl, Ma. Please don't say Negro while she's here.
Well, I guess I'll just say what I want in my own house. I still want to know who got you into this craziness.
Well, and Zinga's parents and grandmother have told her so much about civil rights, and she's written most of the skit. Why don't Grandma or Grandpa ever talk about it? They were around then. They were old enough to remember. They were about my age, weren't they? But I don't remember one single word coming from them about integration, desegregation, sit-ins, boycotts, or anything.
There are things that good families talk about and things they don't, and this is one of the things they do not talk about. You don't know enough about anything to come up with this topic, so it had to be that little Negro girl to bring it up, and then you latch on because it was cool. Is that how it went?
Black.
Whatever you want to call her, it might have been your idea to work together, but I know you didn't come up with that topic. You'd better not be writing about those hoses and police dogs. That's all I can say.
No, it's not that. It's the 16th Street church bombing.
The what? Oh, hell no. Oh, no. You are not going to dredge all that ancient history up in this house. No, no, no. It won't happen. I will be going up to Springs on Monday and make them take you off this little assignment or find somebody else for you to work with. I know you can find somebody else. What about Evelyn or Patrice? Even Dawn would be a better fit. I'm going up there on Monday, Colette, so you better call the little African queen and tell her not to come and that you will not be doing that play with her at all. Not that church bombing stuff. No way. Not in this house.
Mom, you're getting all worked up for nothing. It's more recent history than the 1800s Magic City stuff you're talking about. Besides, everyone has been paired up and I'm working with Nzinga. The assignment is to do a project focusing on 20th century Birmingham. That's ours.
I know for a fact there's another Negro girl in your social studies class. Let them work together. I know you can find something better than that to write about. What about the University of Alabama at Birmingham? Dad is an alum. Write about that. Or what about your own community? In fact, Cherokee Springs Village was just incorporated in the 90s, just before we moved here. Is that recent enough for you?
We've already made up our mind.
So why in the world am I just hearing about this? Who the hell is your social studies teacher any damn way? I don't want to go up there and have to give her a piece of my mind.
It's a him.
I don't care if it's damn baboon. You better take care of it or I will. You better take care of it or I will. And don't let your father get wind of this madness.
Why bother to tell Dad? You know how he is. We're almost finished with it. Just the ending left. I even thought we'd have a chance to read it for you so you could give us some tips.
Don't try to butter me up. You know, if your dad hears about this, he'll be wondering why I didn't tell him. On second thought, I think it's something you need to talk to him about. No, I won't be reading it, and I don't want to hear another word about it. When I tell him I didn't know about it, it will be the truth, or at least part truth. So don't tell me anything else about it. In fact, I have other things to do besides sitting and listening to you bring up that church bombing stuff. You just don't know how it really was back then.
Neither do you, Ma. You weren't even born.
No, I wasn't. But I was closer to it than you are. Folks were still talking about it a lot when I was a kid. They caught and tried the man who they say did it, and when I was a little tyke. I don't remember that, but something about it was in the paper almost every year after that. Every anniversary, we had to hear about those 4 girls. It was just opening up old wounds for the Negroes every single year. For all of September, we had to steer clear of North Birmingham. I never went over there anyway, but a lot of folks from over here worked in the city. The bad part was things had already changed so much. A Negro mayor, teachers, everything. We need to keep regurgitating that stuff about those 4 girls.
Those 4 girls had names.
I know they had names, but why should I know them? I didn't have any reason to, and neither do you. Just let bygones be bygones. Focus on how much things have changed. There's a Negro president now. Obviously, things have changed.
Black president. He calls himself an African American. Springs didn't get its first black student until the 90s, and there are fewer than 30 there now out of almost 100. And some of those are from Africa and the Caribbean. No black teachers. How many black people live in Cherokee Springs? I don't know any. Do you? Not a single one. And a trailer park filled with Mexicans to do grunt work for rich white people like us, just like black people did before civil rights. I hadn't even noticed that. Did you? And Zinga did. She knew about the Mexicans. So how do you figure things have changed so much?
So it's your little friend who's starting up all this trouble. She doesn't know everything, you know. It's the public schools. She should know that all the public schools changed when they started going. They were in all of them. Took them over, in fact. That's when my family moved out of Birmingham. It's a long story, and it's just best not pulled back up.
Can't change history by sweeping it under the rug. Whatever it was, we need to face it and see if we can learn from it. If we didn't, then something might be wrong with us. Our social studies teacher says we can't change history, but history always changes us.
Oh, I'll see about that social studies teacher. This is his first year, and it just might be his last. I'll just see about him.
Mom, don't go up there starting trouble. He's the best teacher at Springs. Everybody loves him. If you knew him, I bet you would too.
I really doubt it. But I'll handle him on Monday. Right now, you better call your little Negro friend and tell her not to come.
I can't do that. She's probably already on her way.
I'm sure she has a cell phone. Call her, Colette, and tell her.
I can't do that, Mom. We can't change the whole project now. Besides, you and Dad always taught me to follow through on commitments. Neither of us can find new partners or do new projects before Monday. It's got to be this way, or I take an F for the assignment.
So what time is this soiree supposed to take place? How's she getting here? The bus line doesn't come out here.
Around 4. And her family has a car, Mom.
So I guess that means her dad will bring her? Hopefully he'll just drop her off or maybe wait in the car?
No, it won't be her dad.
See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Probably no dad at home, huh? That's how most of their households are run, you know. And you think I don't know about those people, single mothers. Are they on welfare?
No disrespect, Mom, but you really are full of it. Why don't you listen instead of talking like you know everything about them when you don't? Her dad was killed in Afghanistan last year. That's why he's not bringing her.
Oh, I didn't mean any harm. I was just saying that.
Just saying?
But
Just saying what you believe about black people when you don't even know a single one? And for the record, her mother works. She's a computer technician with Alabama Power.
how in the world could I have known that?
That's exactly my point. You just sit out here in your cozy little world and believe every stereotype you've ever heard about black people. Maybe your high school should have had a diversity program. I'm sure glad ours does. Or Chandler and I would both probably be just like you and Dad.
Oh my goodness. I hope she's not here when he gets home. Please try to end your practice before 7, because if you think I'm bad, just wait until your dad gets home, especially if she's still here lounging around.
Lounging around? What? Never mind. We'll be finished long before then. What kind of pizzas do we have?
Pizza? You expect her to eat here too?
Mom, you're just amazing.
So what did I say wrong? I just don't understand why we have to change what has worked for all these years. And why in the world do my children have to be a part of this social experiment? Oh, God, I think I need a Valium and a nap.
End of scene 1. Lights down. Act 1, scene 2. Nzinga and Marianne are in the Williams' modest but neatly decorated living room.
Ma, you never answered me. Are you taking me to Colette LeBlanc's to practice for the skit?
I was hoping you'd forget about that. I don't have any intention of going over there on the weekend. Going 5 days is more than enough. I'm not driving over there today, too. So no, I'm not taking you.
If you don't feel like it, what about Antoine taking me?
It's not about me feeling like it. I'm just not going, and neither are you.
What are you volunteering me for now?
I'm supposed to go to Colette LeBlanc's to practice, and now Mama's saying no.
What you need to go there for? Chandler's coming to town. Why don't the two of you just beam each other and switch places? I would take you, but I planned a tourney for this afternoon, just to pick up. But all the guys are coming from all around. If I take you there, I'll end up late to my own game.
I wasn't asking you to take her anyway. Going to school over there is one thing, but Cherokee Springs Village will not be a social destination for either of you.
But this isn't a social visit, Ma. We have to practice for the skit. We do it on Monday.
Well, I'm not driving you over there, and neither is your brother. That's it.
That's silly, Ma. You and Dad put us in the school all the way over there, and now you can't take us because it's the weekend? What kind of sense does that make? That Dad would have took you, Zing. What you got to do? What you got to go over there for anyway?
I've been working on a play with Colette. A skit, really. Well, maybe not even a skit, but it's coming off so good. We're supposed to present it to the class on Monday, but we've got to finish it and rehearse.
Well, you better go early on Monday, because you won't be going today. Wonder what your dad'd be saying about you traipsing out there over the weekend.
But Dad's gone, Ma. And you kept us there, so now it's your decision.
Don't tell me about your daddy's gone like I don't know that. In fact, that's the only reason you're there, because he wanted it.
Regardless of the reason, we're there. And I know Daddy would want us to be a part of things. If Daddy was here, he'd take me.
Well, he ain't here, damn it. He's gone. He's dead and gone.
Ma, come on. We know that. And we know it still hurts. It hurts all of us. That's why we want to do what you would want.
Don't try to make me the baddie in this. I'm not going. If you feel so strong about it, you take her.
But I have a basketball tournament in the park, and all the guys are on their way. Chandler's coming all the way from Cherokee Springs.
Well, I guess you and little Miss Ann will just have to practice on the phone. That's as good as it's going to get.
Please don't call her that. Colette is really nice, and she's one of the few friends I have at Springs.
Friends? You all use that term so loosely. Just be careful of who you call your friends. You see what happened to your daddy and who did it.
Ma, you don't really know what happened. You can't go on the words of one person.
Stu was his real friend, not like your little white friend. He was there and knew what was going on. Let him tell us about friends and friendly fire. How can fire be friendly? And if it was so friendly, why is my husband dead? Why, damn it? Answer me that question.
I can't answer it, Mom. I don't know. And neither do you. We don't know. But what I do know is that Daddy would want Zing to work on the skit and get an A. Plus, it's an important skit. There's 2 reasons for you to take her.
It just hurts so bad. I don't know. I don't know anymore. Especially I don't want to deal with those folks. I can't do it.
Mom, please don't cry. How many times have you told me? It won't make things better at all. If you don't want to take me, okay. I just won't go. It's only one assignment. I won't fail the course if I get an F on it. I just have to get A's on everything else.
Ma, it's just a pickup tournament. I could take her. I don't mind. I could reschedule it for another time. Maybe next weekend. It's okay.
No, it's not okay. Twan, nothing's okay anymore. There's just too many things wrong with all of this. I don't want her going over there. I don't even want you all in school over there. I don't want your daddy to be gone. I don't want her to do a skit about the bombing. It's just too much wrong with all of this.
Okay, Mama, I won't do it.
No, Zing. You work too hard. Ma, she's...
But you just said...
I know what I said, but I'm wrong. You're wrong and Mom's wrong. Dad's gone, Mama. And we gotta go on with our lives. That's what Dad would want. Please, Mama. Don't make this worse than it is. This is 2013. If she can't do a project with a white girl now, when will it happen? Zing is right to do the skit, and she's right to go to the spring.
Why? They don't give a damn about it. Just like those over there didn't give a damn about your daddy. We're always the ones reminding them of their wrongs that they did. The ones they still do. Hell, they killed those girls. They should want to atone for that evil and remember it themselves, especially this year. And who's going to atone for your daddy's death, huh? Nobody.
We know most of them don't care, Mom. That's why Gran taught you the ritual, and you both taught it to me and Twan. It's because we got to be the ones that pass it on. We can't depend on them. That's why I'm doing the skit at school. I'm just glad Colette's excited to do it. She understands that they have to know the story. That's why it's important, but I don't want to hurt our family anymore. I'd just rather not do it.
If Colette's anything like her brother, she's different from all the white folks we grew up with.
Don't let them fool you. I know. Funny she couldn't come over here to work on it. Especially seeing as her brother is coming all this way anyway. That really shows how different she is, huh? It might be 2013, but I guess we haven't advanced so much that the Barbie doll can't come over to the ghetto.
Colette's not like that.
A miracle if she's not. I know who her mama and daddy are.
Ma, I'll take her. Please stop.
You must think I'm crazy. Going might be okay, but you'd have to bring her back too, and coming back after dark would be a different story. You probably wouldn't even get back to the Birmingham city limits without the police messing with you for driving while black. Y'all don't understand. You think things have changed because you're in school out there. It hasn't. They don't like us and don't want us out there. Besides, I haven't been out there to any white folks' house over that way since I was a little girl when my mama cleaned for them. I didn't like it then and I don't like it now.
Mama, that was a long time ago. Cherokee Springs wasn't even a city when you were a little girl.
Still the same folks.
Hey, Ma, really, the LeBlancs aren't like that.
Are you serious? The LeBlancs sit on the board at Springs and they are notoriously racist, especially Mr. LeBlanc, the most racist parents at Springs. Oh, they put on a good front, but the word's out on them.
Well, I don't know about all that. Chandler's come here all the time. He got his own little running Mustang, his own car. He's over there to play basketball almost every weekend. His own car.
Coming over here to play basketball sounds like a big deal, I guess. Maybe the kids are different. Maybe. Anyway, we are not the LeBlancs, so don't go getting any grand ideas about your own car. Knew some folks like the LeBlancs. They built most of those houses on that side of the mountain before I was born. Running from us, you know. But when they got out there, didn't have anybody to cook, clean, or take care of the babies. Then they found out how much they needed us. Now ain't that a hoot? So racist, they couldn't stand to be around us, but couldn't leave us either. My mama had to go back in the back door to clean their nasty houses and wash their stinky old clothes. This was in the early 80s, and that wasn't too long ago at all. I was a little bitty girl, but I knew even then it wasn't right. We didn't go into anybody else's back door. In all of Birmingham, we never went into a single back door. I can't tell you how much I hated that. Daddy worked nights and took her way out there early in the morning. After he got home from work, then picked her up too in that little raggedy car. All of that for a little piece of day's work.
Ma, things are different.
Don't I know it? Now they use Mexicans to do their grunt work. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just not feeling any of this. Look, you two. I'll take Zine to this practice, but I'm not excited about it. There are a lot of reasons to do it, but there are a whole heap of them not to. I'm just gonna hold on to this too shall pass.
Yes. Let me get out of here before she changes her mind. Mama, it's gonna be all okay all the way around. I'll bet money on it.
He kisses her and leaves.
Thanks, Mom. I'll bet money too. Everything's really gonna be okay.
Like I said, this too shall pass.
Ma, you know Granddaddy's old car is still sitting in Big Mama's backyard? All rusted out. Remember Twan and I used to play when we were your kids? Play like we could drive?
I don't know why Mama let y'all play in that old rusty shell. If you gotten scratched or scraped, you probably would have gotten Tomaine Poison. Lord, I don't know when I've heard that phrase, Tomaine Poison. You know what that is?
Big Mama still says it. Girl, you better not walk out there barefoot. You gonna step on a nail and get Tomaine Poison. Give that boiled egg to the dog. It's been sitting in there long enough to give somebody Tomaine Poison. I guess I know what it is if it's something that can kill you for doing just about anything. That's what Big Mama thinks anyway. You ever see anybody with it?
No. And your grandmother hasn't either, that I know of. She wouldn't know what Tomaine Poison is if it got it herself. But she had us scared to drink after folks, eat at anybody's house, go outside barefoot. Scared of just about everything because of this dreaded condition that no one knew we had ever seen. Now, I know she just used it to keep all the kids in line, but even when the others got big enough to know better, they still use it on me. I don't eat at other folks' house to this very day unless I know them real good. And don't talk about bringing potluck. I'll bring my own dish, but I definitely ain't eating what anybody and everybody brings. I guess I'll never get Tomaine Poison.
Mama, that's hilarious. It's good to hear you laughing.
Yeah. Didn't think I'd ever laugh again.
Me either, Ma. I miss him so much.
Look, sweetie, we got this laugh thing going. Let's not lose it.
You're right, Mama. You know what? When you stop to think of it, racism is something like Tomaine Poison, isn't it?
What do you mean, Zane?
Kind of like some dreaded condition that people think they can get just by associating with other races. It's nothing anybody can really describe, even though it's supposed to be real, but who has ever gotten sick from it or died?
Oh, honey, plenty of people have died from racism. We all know about that.
Maybe so, but I'm thinking that racism is what starts everything off. White folks hating to socialize with black folks, and black folks too angry to be around white folks. Everybody's scared they're gonna get Tomaine Poison. Just like from the nail in Big Mama's yard that nobody has ever stepped on, or food at a strange somebody's house, writing the skit has made me think a lot about this whole race thing, and it's pretty ridiculous to me, just like Tomaine Poison.
Maybe you have a point. If you think that way after you learn more, I guess it'll have to be your generation that'll cure the condition. You have a lot of work to do for sure, but who knows? What I do know is that going over to Cherokee Springs Village for one weekend is not the answer. So, what time did you tell your white friend you were going to her big house in Cherokee Springs?
Ma, don't call her that. You know her name's Colette LeBlanc.
Isn't that what I said? The white. That's what a name means, you know? The white. Now that is priceless.
Yeah, it's kind of funny when you put it like that. We agreed I'd get there around 4. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, it's okay. Honey, you have so much potential. Brains galore. Your dad just wanted you to go somewhere where you'll find challenges, the encouragement, and the resources you need to succeed. He had big plans for both of you.
I know, I have big plans for myself. I'm going to be a playwright, like Lorraine Hansberry or Susan Laurie Parks. I'm a pretty good writer. Colette really thinks so.
Your daddy would probably be disappointed because he did like the way that Dr. Nzinga Williams sounded. But playwriting, well, that's probably just the flavor for this month. I know you'll change to something else before I turn around a couple of times. When you have an assignment in political science, you'll probably want to be like Condoleezza Rice. I'm not pressuring you, not pressuring you one bit. Just glad you got Black women to hold up for examples, you know, to show you that you can be anything you want. Anyway, so this skit's about the bombing, huh? What you two doing with that?
Maybe we don't need to talk about that now. I don't want you to get upset and not take me.
That's not gonna happen. I'm okay now. So tell me something about the skit.
You know, Mama, ever since the ritual, I think about those girls all the time. Is that what you all planned for us to never forget? Because if so, it worked. I don't really like thinking about them so much. I think about them almost every single day, and I kind of wish I didn't have to.
Me and your daddy felt like we had to strengthen you with these memories in our Black history. We started from when you were born. We figured then you could go anywhere and always know who you are. Even out there in lily white land, you still know what's important. You're still grounded. The ritual was important, Zine. They're our ancestors now. Your dad is one of them too, you know. You got to remember them and teach them to your own children when you have them to make sure that they don't forget either. We got to always pay homage.
But every day something happens to make me think of them. Those girls, Mama. Addie Mae Collins, Carol Robertson, Denise McNair, Cynthia Wesley. They were just kids like me. Sometimes I feel like hating all white people for what happened to them. Sometimes it's even hard for me to work with Colette. I have to stop and remind myself that she wasn't even born, and she's so excited about this skit.
Maybe all white people aren't responsible. Still, you got to be careful. A lot of racist haters out there, a whole lot of them. Just got to stay as far from the haters as you can. One thing for sure, you know who you are, and that's why you can do this skit about the bombing, even out there. You see, when you know who you are, you can't unknow that, even if you try. I guess that means I shouldn't be worried about you going over there, huh? You're strengthened, girl. You're fortified.
But I don't always want to be fortified, Mama. Sometimes I just want to be normal, like Colette. Sometimes I don't want to have a name that nobody can pronounce. I don't want to always have to think about those 4 little girls or about the ritual or
about your daddy. Is that what you were going to say? That you don't want to think about him over there with nobody?
No, I don't want to think about that or all that other stuff you and Daddy taught us. I don't always want to think about black and white.
Talk on it, Nzinga. Life is complicated for us. It's not something we did to make it that way, but if we're not fortified, we'll be sucked into non-existence. Like we don't matter. Like our lives don't matter. Your daddy and I raised you and your brother to know who you are so you can go any place and be strong. You know, I don't really want you to go out there, and you know why. But your reason for going is a good one, and I know it. So how can I say no? You have to go. That's obvious, and I know that you'll be okay. And I've got to take you. I wanted to go on the record, though, that I'm still not happy about going over there on a weekend, but I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I guess I know all of that, Ma. You and Daddy have said it enough, but now I just hope you like our skit, and I hope we get an A on it. You'll see it when we get there, and you can tell me what you think.
What? Oh, no, baby. No. That won't happen. I don't know those people like that, but I know they don't want me all up in their house any more than I want to be there. I wouldn't just be popping up into some white folks' house anyway. Nope. I'll drop you off and I'll go shopping someplace or find something to do until you're ready for me to pick you up. You can just call me.
But Ma, I want to hear what you think about it. We have to do it on Monday, and if it needs more work, you'll tell me the truth. I have tomorrow to revise it. You could visit with Colette's mother for a minute, then watch the skit. I promise we only have a little bit to work on. Shouldn't take more than a half hour or so. Please stay. Anyway, you're fortified.
Being fortified is one thing. Visiting with Colette's mother is another. What on earth would we have to talk about, huh? We don't have a single thing in common. Not one thing. And a half an hour? You think I'm stupid, I guess.
Well, it won't take very long, I promise. And you and Mrs. LeBlanc probably have more in common than you think. Like us. You have a 15-year-old daughter, and so does she. Not only that, but you have a 17-year-old son, and so does she. Both of your sons are basketball fanatics. Seems like you two have a lot to talk about. Oh yeah, her name is Mary Lou, and yours is Marianne, and both your sons have French names. Well, kind of French anyway. And you were both born right here in Birmingham and grew up here. Yep, a whole lot to talk about.
You know Antoine's name ain't French in a French name. They might think it is from the sound, but it's just as black as yours. Your daddy named him, and he knew what he was doing. About staying to watch your skit, I can't make any promises. Anything else would probably be a lot more fun, like a toothache. But you need to call your friend and find out if it's okay, just in case. I'm serious. I don't want to be popping up at somebody's house, especially a white somebody, and they don't want me there.
Calling now. Hello? Colette? Yeah, just leaving now. So, yeah, we should be there in about a half hour. No, my brother has the basketball game. Your brother's coming. My mom is bringing me. I just wanted to make sure it's okay for her to stay and watch the skit. I was thinking maybe she and your mom could be our practice audience. Don't you have to ask your mother if it's okay? Cool. We'll be there in a little while. See, Mom, that's settled. She says you are more than welcome to come and she'll see us soon.
She said. And what did her mother say?
Obviously, she said it was okay. So let's go. I don't want to be late.
Okay. But let it be known that I go with great reluctance.
End of Act 1, Scene 2. Act 2, Scene 1. Lights up in the living room of the LeBlancs. Mary Lou and Colette are in the living room. The doorbell rings.
Sounds like your little friend is here. Better get the door because I'm not answering it.
Oh, yikes. Mom? I forgot to tell you, her mom is coming with her.
You mean she's dropping her off, right?
No, she's coming in. And Zinga called while you were asleep and asked, and I forgot to tell you.
Doorbell rings again.
What do you mean you forgot to tell me? You didn't have anything to tell me, little missy. You needed to ask me if that's okay, and it's not. I don't have a thing in common with her mother. You just need to answer the door and tell them I'm not here or I'm sick or anything. But I'm not entertaining her. And oh no. That was disrespectful and inconsiderate of you not to ask me or even say one single word to me about her coming.
Come in, just a minute. I'm sorry, Mom. Really sorry. I just forgot. But you can't do this. Not be here for her mother. I told them it was okay.
Then you entertain them. I am not doing it.
They're already here, Mom. I promise. It won't be for but a half hour. No more.
She walks to the door.
Oh, come on, Mom. Please. I'll do whatever you want me to do for the next month. But please be nice. Hello. Welcome to our house. Come on in.
Mary Lou is glaring at her daughter behind the door, but as soon as the guests enter the house, a smile is plastered on her face, and she walks to the door.
Yes, do come in.
Oh, and Zinga, this must be your mom.
It is. Mom, this is my friend Colette and her mother, right?
Yes, I'm Mary Lou LeBlanc. So nice to meet you and glad your mother could come with you.
I'm Marianne, Nzinga's mother. Marianne Williams.
Nice to meet you, Mrs. Williams. And can you say your name for me once more? Can you say your name once more for me? I want to make sure I get it right.
Nzinga. Pretty simple.
And very pretty, too. I hear there's some history behind that lovely name. Something about a queen.
Yes, ma'am. Mom named me after the 17th century queen of 2 kingdoms in Southwest Africa.
Well, I almost had it right.
Interesting. Tell me, Marianne, how in the world did you come up with that name? You don't mind me calling you Marianne now, do you?
Not at all, Mary Lou. Of course, you won't mind me calling you by yours, do you?
Of course not. Our names are so similar, aren't they? But speaking of names, you really must tell me how you came up with Nzinga there. I got it right, didn't I?
Perfect. Maybe one day Nzinga will share the whole thing with you. But since we're here for them to work on their play, I think they should get started. We really can't stay too long.
You are so right. And I'm sorry you won't be able to stay long. About how long do you think it'll take you to finish? Don't forget your dad's coming in tonight and he'll be expecting us to dine with him.
Oh, it's a little past 4 now. It shouldn't take us long, right, Nzinga?
30 minutes, Zing.
Zing. What a quaint nickname. Really cute. Well, Zing and Colette, you better get started on your work, or should I say finished. You are working on the end, aren't you?
Yeah, just a little more to go. Right, Nzinga?
No more than a couple of hours.
A couple of hours?
Couple of hours?
Just kidding. We should be finished in no time. Where are we working, Colette?
Up in my room. Come on, it's this way.
They leave, and Zinga gives a little wave to her mother.
So, I hear you're a computer technician.
Yes, for Alabama Power. And you?
I was a CPA, but I guess you can say I'm a stay-at-home mom now, even though my children will be in college in a few years. But I'm busy. I absolutely stay busy.
I'm sure.
Do you know anything about their play?
Just a little. That it's about Birmingham in 63.
I really don't understand why they'd want to write about that. So much happy stuff they could write about the city.
The history is important to them, I guess.
Yeah, but it's like pulling a scab off a sore that hadn't healed. You'd think they wouldn't want to do that.
Well, maybe the sore hasn't healed because no one has given it the necessary attention.
Oh. Oh, attention. You mean like medical attention? I wasn't sure what you meant. That's what you meant, right?
Whatever kind of attention is needed for the healing.
Are you saying you agree with them writing about the dark days of this city's history?
Do you all say you live in Birmingham way out here?
Well, not exactly, but we're still part of the Greater Birmingham area.
A lot different though, isn't it? That history is exactly why you're out here, isn't it?
I definitely wouldn't say that. Are you saying you agree with them writing a play about the church bombing?
It is still hard to talk about. I do agree with that.
That's exactly my point. They really shouldn't focus on that. I say they should let sleeping dogs lie.
Nah, that's not what I'm saying. I meant it's hard to talk about because it's still painful. Not that we shouldn't talk about it. I'm actually glad that they're writing about it. You know this is an important anniversary. It should be commemorated all over the state.
Really? What would you like to see done? Reenact the hosing and the dogs and the church bombing? Maybe like they do the Civil War. Is that what you mean by commemorate? I don't think I could stand that.
That's not at all what I'm talking about. And I'm not exactly sure how they should do it, but something should be done. I'm sure there'll be a lot of activities, maybe even some out here.
Well, personally, I think the girls should just do a happy skit. I had some ideas, but Colette didn't want to hear them. And from the look on your face, I guess you don't want to either.
I think we should just let the girls do the play that they want to do. So, when exactly did your family move away from Birmingham?
Oh, decades ago. First, my grandparents moved to Mountain Brook.
Right around 1963, I bet. They called it white flight. You know, when all your people took off to the suburbs because of integration.
No, I don't think that's how it happened at all. They just wanted better schools.
Funny how the schools were just fine before integration. Real funny. Your mom and daddy probably went to Phillips. You know, it's on the National Historical Register, or more than likely they went to Woodlawn.
Yeah, Woodlawn. How do you know?
Just a guess. That's where I went.
Oh. There's a picture of a boy standing on this big stone sign of Woodlawn High School, and he's waving a flag. They say that's a picture of my daddy when he was a boy, when he was a senior at Woodlawn. Small world, huh?
What? If that don't beat all. I believe I know the picture you're talking about. It's in a lot of books about that history. I've seen it myself. He's not just waving any old flag. It's a Confederate flag.
Well, I'm not sure what kind of flag it is. I'm not even really sure if it's my daddy. Some people just say it is.
Oh, I looked at that picture a lot of times. Real hard and wondered about that boy. He looked to be about 17 or so. Same age as our boys, huh?
But we really don't believe that was my daddy.
Yeah, right. Probably even called your daddy a freedom fighter. I'll bet your mama was in the crowd. They both were probably out there when the hoses were turned on those kids. I'll just bet they were.
They were never a part of that, but they remember it.
How do you feel knowing your folks were the cause of such pain to those kids?
What? They didn't cause any pain. They were just kids themselves. If anything, they were also victims.
Oh, victims? Of what? Of their own time? So did they ever change? Did they ever come to see that integration was a good thing? You don't have to answer that because I already know. If they had, you wouldn't be all the way out here, way across the mountain trying to avoid us.
I think you're trying to insult me for things that happened a lifetime ago, but you're not, because things didn't happen like you're saying they are. I can tell you that. I hear nothing but exactly what should I call you all? Colette says nobody uses Negro anymore, except I hear plenty of people using it.
Yeah, probably when they're not using the word nigger. Black is fine, or African American. Any one of those will do.
What? I can honestly say I have never called anybody that N-word.
You mean to their face?
Look, you're not going to make me feel guilty about you and your life. I have never used the term, and I won't say I did. It has never come out of my mouth. Now, my daddy used it enough for all of us, but I never called anybody that. My children have never either. Their daddy, that's a different story. Oh my goodness, I forgot. He's due in around 7. I hate to be rude, but...
You want us going before then.
I'm sorry. That sounds so rude to say to a guest. I'm really sorry.
You know, if it wasn't for my daughter, I wouldn't be here for you to kick out of your house. And if I could convince her to leave now, I'd be gone. I didn't want to come out here anyway.
And I'm worried about being rude to you. I've never had anyone talk like that in my own home.
I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to be rude. My mother did teach me manners.
And I really didn't mean for it to sound like I was kicking you out. I'm not. But I just know how Dean is. That's my husband, Dean LeBlanc. Not really his fault, though. One of his cousins was shot dead by a black man a few years ago. Owned a car dealership in North Birmingham. And the man came in to rob him. Didn't have any money on him, so the man just shot him dead. Cold-blooded. Dean didn't like Negroes, blacks, much before that, but afterwards, you would have thought it was 1963 all over again.
I'm sorry all that happened to your family. Really sorry, but I could tell you a few horror stories too. I don't guess we want to get into a contest about who's been hurt the most by racial violence.
Oh, I wasn't trying to say anything like that. I was just telling you about my husband.
You don't have to worry. I'll make sure we're gone before he gets home.
Gets up and goes to the stairs and shouts.
Zing, honey, about how much longer? It's getting late and we want to get away from here before it gets dark. Just don't want to know what might happen in these parts at night.
Almost finished, Ma. Just a few more minutes.
So, did I tell you that my Aunt Cora is blind in one eye?
No, you didn't mention anything about your Aunt Cora.
Didn't think so. Racial violence. What about my husband? Did I mention that he was killed in Afghanistan by one of his own men? Friendly fire, they called it. How can killing anybody be called friendly? But we never believed it anyway. One of those good old boys from right here near Birmingham just accidentally shot my husband on purpose.
Are you sure?
About him being killed by an Appalachian white boy?
No, I thought he was killed in the war.
Yeah, a war was going on all around him, and he got shot by one of his own soldiers.
Are you sure about that? How could it have been someone in our army? Did they catch who did it?
Wasn't like they had it to catch anybody. They knew who did it. He was like, oops, killed a nigga. That word you never said. Well, I bet he used it soon as he shot my daddy. I guess he was one of those freedom fighters. 63 might as well never happen. All that protested for equal rights and equal opportunities. What did it do for my husband?
But it was an accident, Marianne, wasn't it? It had to have been an accident. It had to have been. Our soldiers don't just shoot our own soldiers on purpose.
Accident? Oh, because they're in the same army? Whites don't kill blacks for no reason? Well, that's a joke, don't you think? Anyway, that is what the investigation said, that it was an accident. Some of his buddies didn't think it was. But what could we do from here? Probably more of that goes on than what we know about. I really don't like talking about these things that I can't do anything about.
My husband is an arbitrator, with labor mostly. He's out of town as much as he's in. Dallas now. Been gone for most of this week and due in tonight. Oh my, what time is it? I ordered dinner to be delivered at 7:15. His plane gets here at 6:40, and it should take him about half an hour to get home, maybe a little longer. He never checks his bag. I know he'll be here no later than 7:30, but he'll call when they land.
I get it, Mary Luke. That itemized schedule will be gone long before he gets here. I can assure you.
You keep taking things the wrong way. That's not what I was trying to say. I only meant that it's very...
Dinner delivered? You mean real dinner? Meat, vegetables, the trimmings?
Sure. Tonight we're having braised lamb, Dean's favorite. Please don't take things the wrong way.
Oh, you can relax. We'll be gone long before he gets here. So how does this dinner thing work? When we have dinner delivered, it's usually Pizza Hut or Papa John's.
And there's a restaurant not too far away, and you just order what you want, and they bring it at the time you schedule. Even set it up for you if you want. All you have to do is sit and eat. I love it.
I guess they come back and do the dishes.
Oh, heavens, no. We do the dishes. At least Colette and Chandler do them. Not much dishes to do. The dishes are very nice, but all plastic, though they look real. So you just toss everything and put the leftovers in the fridge. They even give you the cutest little containers. Real simple.
And probably cost an arm and a leg.
No, it's not cheap, but so worth it. Watches on my arm never keep good time. Mostly I just wear them as accessories. What time did you say it was?
I never did. But it's 5:30 by the clock right there on the wall.
Those girls better come on. It's getting late.
Oh, if they're not finished by the time your dinner comes, we'll just pack up and leave anyway.
Her phone rings.
Excuse me. Hi, honey. Yeah, we're still here. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. No, we haven't seen this skit yet. We'll be leaving in another hour, skit or no skit. Well, you can come on if you want. You'll probably be turning right on around to go home. We're leaving in an hour, no matter what. Okay, see you in a half hour. That was Antoine. They finished their basketball game and your son is heading home. I guess Twan will come with him for the ride and turn around and ride back with us.
That was a quick game, wasn't it?
Yes, he said something about somebody spraining an ankle and nobody to take his place. I guess we'll get the whole story when they get here. Can you call the girls and find out what's taking them so long?
Sure.
Goes to the steps. Her phone rings. She answers it.
Oh, hello. Hi, honey. You're in early. You're not. Where are you? Still in Dallas. Why didn't you call earlier? I've ordered dinner and everything, your favorite. No, I can't keep, and I can't cancel. That's okay. That just means you'll have to take me someplace really special tomorrow. I hope you can get back early. I can make reservations, but call me tomorrow and let me know for sure. No, not doing anything much. Just watching a little TV and helping Colette with some homework. I'll let her know. He's on his way now home from playing basketball. I'm sure he'll take care of your lamb. Don't worry about that. Okay, dear. Get some rest, and I do hope you can finish the case tomorrow and won't have to go back next week. Yes, but don't forget to call me as early as you can. See you tomorrow. My husband.
I figured as much.
Wonder what those girls are doing. Oh, I was going to call them.
I noticed you didn't tell them that we were here. I wasn't eavesdropping, but you were talking so loudly for me not to ignore you.
No, I didn't. He wouldn't really understand. No sense in telling him on the phone.
So will you tell him we were here when he gets home tomorrow?
Why would I do that? It'll be over and done with by then.
I just didn't think you'd keep a secret from your husband.
How do you and your daughter being up here equate to a secret? It's just something he has no need to know.
That Black people are in his house sitting all over his furniture?
It's really not like that at all. Not at all.
Could you please call my daughter and tell her it's time for us to go?
But they have to finish the skit. They really need to get a good grade.
Oh, and now it's okay if we stay, since dear Dean won't be home till tomorrow. A minute ago, you were about ready to throw us out.
Not at all. But I can relax a little. Can I get you something to drink?
Are you serious? I've been sitting here for over an hour and you haven't even offered me a glass of water. No, I just want you to get my daughter. Oh, hell. Twan's on his way, so we'll just have to wait for him to come anyway. Damn.
I do admit, Marianne, I can relax now that Dean won't be in tonight. He's not really a racist, just a victim of his own time.
I guess that's the story of your whole family. Of course he isn't a racist. None of you are. You just all hate Black people. And what's so racist about that?
What? I don't know how you can even say that. You don't even know us. What we've been through. It's just
that you moved as far over the mountain to get away from us. And here we are going to your school, visiting your home. Next, you'll be thinking I want my children to marry yours.
What? I don't know why you would even think such a thing. I promise you, I am not a racist.
Oh. So when is the last time you had a Black visitor to your house? When is the last time you visited a Black person's house? When is the last time?
Do you hate white people, Marianne?
Don't you go trying to flip the script, Mary Lou. It's not really about me, is it? Would you have let your daughter come to my house to practice the skit? Would you have come? Don't bother to lie. We both know the real answer. You know what's funny in a kind of ironic way? There are other races moving all over Metro Birmingham and probably even out here. New folks, new races, as far as you and I are concerned. You got Indians from India, Chinese, Japanese, and a whole lot of Hispanics, especially in North Birmingham. But I don't care how many of them move down here. The real racial conflict is always going to be between white folks and Black folks. Damn shame. Money can get most of those others to be accepted by y'all as almost honorary white folks. But Blacks, we know what y'all call Black doctors, lawyers, engineers. I don't care how much money they have. You call them niggas. There's nothing they can do to rise up out of the niggerdom. It isn't. And poor little me, just a computer technician. I guess I'm sure enough doomed to niggerdom forever. Oh, right. You don't use that word. Or so you say. You really expect me to believe you? Your daddy caught in time in a picture waving a Confederate flag, and you think I believe that you never called anybody a nigger? Please get my daughter now.
Well, it's true. I haven't. And I think you're being really rude and insulting. I know one thing. I certainly wouldn't have come to your house saying such things.
Because you wouldn't have come to my house at all. Can you please tell my daughter Nzinga that I am ready to go? We can wait in the car for Twan.
Oh, Marianne, you can't wait in the car.
Oh, Mary Lou, what the hell was I thinking? Two little darkies sitting in a parked car out here. Someone would likely blow our heads off thinking we come out here to rob them.
That is not what I meant.
Is this the part where you cry and hope I feel sorry for you?
No, there's no reason for me to cry just because you hate white people. That's really what this is all about. You hate us. You're jealous of us.
Lord have mercy, jealous. I know it's time for me to go before I really get rude. Please tell them to come down right now, damn it.
Marianne, you don't have to get out of sorts.
Put your hands on me. Do not touch me.
But you don't have to shout.
That's what black folks do when they get mad. We get loud. Call my child now.
Ma, you okay?
Yeah, everything's fine. It's getting late. Are you finished yet?
Yep, we're just making some props. Be down in a sec.
Now, Nzinga, right now. I'm leaving now.
I'm getting a headache. I'm sorry about what I said. It just came out. You made me so angry.
Okay, Ma, just a few more minutes.
Let them finish, Marianne. I said I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. It was the truth that came out. You really think I want what you have? I can't believe I let that girl talk me into coming out here. I was headed to the mall, you know. Is there a mall out here? I was going to find it and just have a nice, peaceful evening, then come pick her up when she called.
No, there's no mall out here, but there are a lot of really cute boutiques. I could give you addresses.
Mary Lou, I don't want the addresses to your damn little boutiques. I just want to go. I'm getting a headache too. Probably from having to be a guinea pig for race relations in Cherokee Springs Village.
Well, since we're being so honest here, I didn't even know you were coming until you were ringing the doorbell.
What do you mean you didn't know I was coming? Nzinga talked to Colette and made the arrangements. I heard her myself.
Making arrangements with Colette is not the same as making arrangements with me. Like I said, I didn't know until you were here that you were coming.
If I'd have known that, you can bet your sweet iced tea I would have dropped Nzinga off and I would have been someplace, any place else this very minute. I have never, ever been at anybody's house where I wasn't wanted. Never.
You're taking things the wrong way again. It wasn't like I wouldn't have said it was okay. I just didn't know you were coming.
I don't believe you would have said it was okay. So what would you have said? Don't bother to answer. I know you wouldn't have. You know it, and I know it. I guess this is the first thing we've agreed on.
It'll be over soon enough.
Same thing I told Nzinga. This too shall pass.
So what's this ritual that you all perform that's related to the skit?
Please, please don't do that.
Do what? I was trying to make conversation. I really do have manners.
Don't go out of your way on my account. I already know you're not interested in the church farming, the ritual, or anything related to civil rights. So stop, please. I'm fine just to sit here and wait, but not much longer. You can let the girls know that if they thought this was going to be some kumbaya time down here, that it's not. I'm done.
Lights slowly fade to black. End of Act 2, Scene 1. Act 2, Scene 2. Chandler and Antoine arrive. Mary Lou and Marianne remain in the living room.
Hey, looks like we're in time for this big production. Lights, camera, action.
Where are your manners, Chandler? Don't you see we have a guest? At least act like you were raised and you didn't just grow.
Sorry, Mom. Twan, mind your manners and introduce me to your mom.
Mom, this is Chandler, one of the greatest wannabe basketball players at Spring. Chandler, this is my mother, Marianne Williams. Seriously, he's a pretty decent ball handler. If he stinks with me, he'll be even better. Now mind your own manners, dude.
Yeah. Now, anyway, Mom, this is Antoine Williams, mostly called Twan. He's son of Mrs. Marianne Williams and big brother of Nzinga Williams.
Nice to meet you. I've heard a lot about you.
So, how's everything going with you two?
Fine.
Absolutely great.
Well, do I hear some sarcasm? Do you hear some sarcasm, Twan?
You must be hearing things. They say things are going fine. I believe them. Things must be going fine.
I hear this play is about the civil rights movement.
Yeah, Zing said it's about the 16th Street church bombing.
What you think about that, Mom? Sorry. Actually, she already knew. You know, I've been there, Mom. Took the tour and everything. Twan took me. Maybe we could go.
And exactly why would I want to do that? Will it change history because I take a tour?
What? Are you saying that learning about Black history is a waste of your time?
I never said anything of the sort. That's been the whole evening for us. She just hears what she wants to hear no matter what I say.
So what exactly were you saying?
Never mind. Talking to you is exhausting. You are just so sensitive. Antoine, could you explain to your mother that I wasn't saying anything was a waste of time? I only meant that there's nothing I can do to change anything.
Mom, sometimes knowing somebody else's history helps us to understand them, even appreciate them. At least that's how it works for me. Going over there to the museum and visiting the church helped me a whole lot. And Colette and Zinga, they get it.
That's not how it works for me. And when the heck did you do all this?
So what? He did something wrong. Sorry, Chandler, but your mother thinks any attention to the 16th Street church bombing is just pulling the scab off of old wounds for nothing.
Mrs. LeBlanc, maybe it doesn't help you because you're not connected to it like we are. I guess Mom told you how my grandmother was saved only because she didn't go to the church that day.
Didn't tell her anything because she wasn't interested.
Mom, did you know that the Williams went to that church?
Our family still goes to 16th Street.
Really? I never met anyone who actually went to that church.
You're getting it, Mom. That's what Nzinga and Colette's work is all about. Tell her about your Aunt Cora.
For what? She already told me she wasn't interested in the story.
What? I never said any such thing. I only said that...
Well, I'm interested. Tell me the story.
You already know it. I know Twan told you about it. Don't try to play games with me. Twan, get your sister. It's time to go.
Okay, but I didn't, Ma. I didn't tell them the whole story about Aunt Cora, and I've never even mentioned Johnny Robinson or Virgil Ware to them.
They're not interested. You don't get it.
I can only speak for myself. I am very interested. Who in the world is Johnny Robinson and Virgil Ware?
Two boys who were killed for nothing. Nothing.
Why do you look at me like something was my fault?
Just more of your freedom fighters, I guess.
Mom, Mrs. Williams, I haven't read the skit and I don't know much about it. But it seems to me that maybe we need to check it out and have a little discussion afterwards. I know it would help the girls.
Phew. I'm feeling like it might just cut some tension in this room. It's pretty thick. Chandler, call him so we can get this show on the road.
Mom, Colette, Zinga, it's showtime.
Just finished the last sign.
The girls come down the stairs with signs. Freedom and equality now. I'm a man. Jobs and justice. We're people too. They distribute them.
Oh my Lord. Please leave this part out. No one wants to hold up signs for your skit. Just do the skit.
Marianne holds her sign up as high as she can and rolls her eyes at Mary Lou.
Okay. In those great and appropriate words of somebody, can't we all just get along? I'm nervous enough already. Don't say anything until it's all over, please. It's kind of rough since this is our first full run through, but we do want to hear your real opinions. Ready, Nzinga? Okay. First, let me do the setup and tell you how it'll go on Monday, or how we plan for it to go. Imagine our history class. There are 12 students, and only 2 of them are black. One of those is Nzinga. And Nzinga and I are the only ones doing a project that has to do with race. And to tell the truth, I'm nervous.
Nervous? For what? If anybody should be nervous, I guess that would be me.
Nervous? Why would you be? Oh, yeah, no input from the audience. Okay, last camera.
I can understand why she's nervous. I just don't know what people are going to think.
Keep your signs near. You'll need them later.
Just do your skit.
Mom. Oh, never mind. We'll start the skit singing the chorus of We Shall Overcome Someday. We shall overcome someday.
Okay, now I present to you Something Something, a one-act skit about the 16th Street church bombing. We have to come up with a real title later. Two girls flashing back and 2 worlds clashing.
Birmingham, Alabama, and we're live and broadcasting. It was a segregated nation where the racists were waiting
to blatantly display a disdain for peace.
Where we suffered many losses but never tasted defeat.
Where anybody dark caught on the street was beaten and they blew up a church to separate and divide us, so we gotta do the best.
We come now to pay homage. Now to pay homage.
Now to pay homage.
Now to pay homage. We shall overcome someday.
50 years to the day, my mom wasn't born yet and my granny was just a child. Still, I hurt from the death of them, those 4 little girls. Each one haunts me and I never even knew them, except their names. Addie Mae, Cynthia, Denise, and Carol. My big mama's friends. We shall overcome.
The headlines read, Birmingham bomb kills 4 Negro girls in church. She recites their names daily when she rises, and before she sleeps. The blast of 1022 that Sunday morning broke the peace. Boom! A bomb fell from hell and exploded in a holy place, and her big mama's friends, all of them were gone. We shall overcome.
3 were the same age as I am right now. Though I couldn't know them, I still know them well. Their hopes, their dreams, their loves, their lives, almost all the same as mine. We shall overcome.
A whole life before each of them, and whatever they wanted, they owned in their hearts. 4 girls, not just names in a history book, but real girls who went to school, passed tests, and played with friends and loved parents who did their best to protect them. 4 sweet voices gone much too soon, turbulent times. Her big mama still uses those words. Times We can't even imagine. Her grandmother says their deaths made sure we don't have to die. We shall
overcome. It still hurts those who were there, even those like my big mama who escaped the physical scars but have never really healed. And the 22 others wounded, like Aunt Cora, my grandmother's baby sister, a little girl who didn't die but who lost her eye and has not slept a full night since. When I was small, I feared the fake eye that never moved but always watched me, never seeing. Aunt Cora was not blind. She could see even without sight. Her life remains a test and a testimony. We should say all their names out loud, engrave them on the bright blue sky like the one on that Sunday morning. Addie Mae, Cynthia, Denise, and Carol.
Sunday school could not stop the young blood from being shed that day. Did God call them home? Or did the devil claim them for his own?
I dream of them almost every night, especially since Big Mama set me on the right path. The path of rites like rituals and ceremonies that celebrate their lives. Every child who turns 12 in our family goes through the rite. Big Mama took me outside on a late September night and showed me the Big Dipper and the midnight sky and then the star, Polaris, the one that led so many of our kin north, escaped from the violent slavery of the South. The North Star, the freedom Big Mama knows will be ours one day. We shall overcome someday. In this rite, to make things right, we shout all their names. Cynthia, Denise, Carol, and Addie Mae. And the 2 boys killed on the very same day.
16-year-old Johnny Robinson shot in the back just for being black. And did anybody care about young Virgil Ware shot by a white boy just for riding his bike?
Big Mama leads the rite on a late September night, and we call out all their names in this rite to make things right. We shall overcome.
I am not hate, though my skin is white, but I have seen it, heard it all my life. If I could undo ugly words and deeds that killed, crippled, and blinded children younger than I would. I can never justify the deeds of that day, or the days after, or the many before.
On Governor Wallace's shoulders, we place so much blame. Just before the girls were slain, he said out loud that Alabama needed a few first-class funerals to make his views plain. Segregation today, tomorrow, forever. Then all those children were either dead or maimed. We shall overcome.
My grandmother is a white woman, but I guess you already knew, and she was a teenager back then too, but she never talks about those days, never tells me how it was in '63. Still, some things she gets real chatty, like her college days, her wedding, or her honeymoon. They went to France. Then my mama was born and how my granddaddy danced. But her silence about '63 is now deafening to me, blasting my eardrums to Kingdom Come. Boom! Loud, too much like a church bomb. Desegregation, the big D, was their biggest fear. Guess they thought we'd have to marry him if they got too near. I saw a picture of teenage students rallying against the big D. It was still '63. I never asked her, but I know it was she. Third girl at the rear of the angry mob. She was not silent then, with fist ball tight as a drum, cheering loudly, while Bull Connor ordered hoses that tore the skin off children as young as 5, and angry German shepherds anxious to eat black kids alive. What did they do? Except march for freedom, justice, equality. Now I hang my head in shame. I am not proud.
Who will be the first to pray for God's pardon for relationships toxic like Tomaine Poison? Who will be the first to take action for healing? I'm just sorry if you're not really feeling it. Like Tomaine Poison is just totally ridiculous.
And what about the pledge, the one we say every day, and generations before us so loudly have said? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yes, we suffered many losses, but never tasted defeat. Anybody dark caught on the street was beat, and then they blew up a church to separate and divide us. So we gotta do our best. We come now to pay homage. Liberty and justice for all.
That was good. I mean, that was really good.
Yep. Yeah. A grade, good. If you don't get a on that one, you can come get us, right, Chandler?
Yeah, if you don't get an A on that skit, something's wrong someplace. What do you think, Mom?
I don't know. I don't know what to think. I just don't know. Was that part about your Aunt Cora real? Was she really in the church?
Yes, she was.
She never got her sight back.
Still blind as can be.
I never knew anybody who had folks in the bombing. Never even thought about folks who might have friends and kinfolks in there.
The part about the boys? Is that part true too? Did they really get killed on the same day?
Yep. Johnny Robinson was shot in the back by a policeman for throwing a rock, and Virgil, he was riding his bike and shot by some boys just because he was black.
That's what I was telling you about, Chandler. The violence didn't stop after the church bombing. Johnny and Virgil were killed, and even after that, there were even more bombings. Weren't there, Ma?
You know the history, Twan. Tell them what you know.
The bombings kept happening on and off for quite a while. That's how the city got to know being as Birmingham.
Not a great nickname, huh, Mary Lou? Not nearly as nice as Magic City. But it's the history.
Anyway, a Ku Kluxer named Robert Chambliss was tried twice for the murder. Found guilty of a misdemeanor for the first time, but they got him for murder the second time. Dozens of bombings happened in the 50s and 60s, and for almost all of them, no one else was ever caught.
Juan, how you know so much about all this? You and Zinga. I can understand your mom, but when did you learn about all of this?
It's my history, man. Our history. I've been learning it my whole life.
It's really all our history. That's the point of the skit. Did y'all get it?
My goodness, yes. So much of our family was in there. Big Mama is gonna love it. I can't wait till she sees it. She will see it, won't she? You gotta do it for a bigger audience than your class.
Believe it or not, even I get it, Colette. I heard your message loud and clear. I heard your grandparents' story, too. I just don't think they're going to like it, though.
Well, that sounds like you think they'll see it.
Whoa, I sure can't say to that.
Maybe at church. We could do it at church. Colette, too. Well, if she wants. I guess that's up to your mom, and if your mom and dad approve. Honey, I wish your dad could see this skit. He'd be so proud of his playwright daughter. Mary Lou, would you let Colette come to our church and do the skit? Listen to me going on and on. I haven't even asked permission from a soul at the church, but I just know we can do this.
If they do it, Mom, can I be in it?
Well, I don't know. Lord, we'll have to talk to your dad, but my goodness, I'd be willing to go that far. At least ask him. The worst he can say is no. With you and Chandler hounding him, he's more than likely to go along. So maybe. I can tell you, I don't think I breathed one breath during the whole thing. If it had gone on much longer, I probably would have passed out. It was wonderful. Nzinga, are you sure you haven't written for the stage before? Colette, your grandparents might not be as excited about the skit as Nzinga's will be, but they will definitely see themselves. They probably won't like it, but maybe they need to see it. It'll really take you kids to convince them to come to something like this. I'll let you two work on them. Hands off for me on that one. You know, being that I was an actor in high school, I do know a few things.
Here we go. Mom, the Academy Award-winning actress.
Don't be such a smart mouth, Chandler. I still have a few skills. The language, the rhythm, the images, the mix of style, all of it was spot on. I even like that little rap part, but...
The doorbell rings. Mary Lou checks wall clock for the time.
Oh, I almost forgot. That'll be dinner. Chandler and Antoine, get it, please, and take it into the dining room. You can set the table. Marianne, please stay for dinner. There's more than enough food, way too much for the three of us, and the girls will want to hear what we think about the skit in much more detail, won't you, girls?
Oh, yes. We don't have a lot of time to work on it. Please, Mrs. Williams, please stay.
Come on, Mom, please stay. We want to get as much feedback as we can. We only have tomorrow to revise it. Please, Mom, let's stay. It's not potluck.
What's so funny?
Nothing, just a little family joke. Mary Lou, it's getting late, and I'm not sure I want to be out here after dark.
No reason at all to be afraid. If you want, we'll lead you to the freeway. We do that a lot for people who might get lost, so it's no big deal. It has nothing to do with race, trust me. Do stay. I have so much to share with the girls about their skit.
Mom, please say yes. This food looks so good, and we're starving.
Well, it seems I'm pretty outnumbered.
Mary Lou takes each girl by the waist and walks with them to the dining room. She's talking about the skit. She pauses every now and then to gesticulate. The three are laughing and talking together. Marianne is left standing in the living room by herself.
If this just don't be all. Oh, Danny, you still working things out, huh? And I guess I have to agree with your little girl. Tomaine Poison is pretty ridiculous.
Laughs and picks up a sign, Freedom and Equality Now, heads for the dining room. End of act, end of play.
Thank you so much for joining us today for Tomaine Poison, written by Dr. Janice Liddell, written by Byron C. Saunders, featuring Adrienne Carlotta, Tabu, Heidi Cox, Kat Peterson, Seth LaRoc, Lance Joos, and Hannibal Tabu. And I am Kimberly Gunn with Zoomcatchers. Before we get into our moderated critique session, we do have some announcements. We want to tell you about our next play reading. Coming up next is Yazoo, Mississippi, written by Gene Chompy. That'll be on Sunday, March 30th at 1 p.m. PST, 4 p.m. EST. You can find out more information by visiting our websites, the fsww.org or zoomcatchers.us. Also, I'm going to have Garland Thompson, Executive Artistic Director of the Frank Silvera Workshop, come up to the stage and tell us about some of the online workshops that we have going on right now. Welcome, Garland.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Kimberly, and thank you to our wonderful cast. Thank you to Byron. Thank you to Janice Liddell for submitting, for first of all, writing and submitting this work and allowing us to read it today. Briefly want to tell you really quickly about, we've started a new online class platform we call FSWW Online. And we've currently got our first class that's happening. It's kind of in the middle. It's a 6-week live cohort class online via Zoom, and it's called What Makes a Good Play. It's with Professor Vera J. Katz. She is Professor Emerita. Over 30 years, she taught drama at Howard University as well as the Duke Ellington School of the Arts. She's known by a lot of folks as a great director, a great dramaturg, and also an acting coach to stars such as Chadwick Boseman, Felicia Rashad, Debbie Allen, and many others. So she's in the middle of that class. You can still join and get sessions, and go to our website, thefsww.org, scroll down the homepage, and you'll find all the links. We've also got Allison Mills Newman's masterclass of acting that is going to be starting soon. Allison Mills Newman is an actor, a director, a filmmaker, and a novelist, an award-winning novelist. She's also someone who studied with Frank Silvera as a teenager, our namesake. She was with him in his own company, Theater of Being, way back in the 60s, and she's gone on to teach acting to lots of folks. She teaches the Frank Silvera method of being, and so she's going to be bringing that to our online class platform. So that's coming up soon. You can also find out about that at our website and find the links to sign up. If you have any questions, feel free to email us.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Aaron. We'll see you in a few minutes, but before we get to our moderated critique session, we know that there are a lot of people that want to weigh in on this topic and this play. Do you want to hand it over to Byron C. Saunders, who will let you know how you can support the workshop and support the arts? Take it away, Byron.
Well, thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to have you here for this very important reading. As you can see, the Frank Silvera Writers Workshop is celebrating its 50th anniversary. 50 years we've been doing these readings of new plays for the African American theater. Many of them have come out of our reading series that you are now enjoying, whether it's a Soldier's Play or anything from August Wilson. But for 50 years, we've been developing this process. I was very fortunate to have been the executive director back in 89 and 90. And at that time on my watch, we won the Obie Award for playwriting development. So this is a process that has been ongoing for 50 years, and many, many actors have come through our stage, and as they say, from the page to the stage. That's because that's what we do at the Frank Silvera Writers Workshop. Now, how can you support us and help us sustain another 50 years? Your dollars make more sense than you really know. Dollars and cents, get it? So here's what you do. You just go onto our site. You see a little box up there on the corner that says donations by pledge. What you can do is click on the open button and make a donation. Make it come from your heart. Help our actors and our playwrights really, really bring all of these beautiful stories to fruition. This is what we do, but we do need your support. So make that large donation or the small donation. If you're ready to write $50,000, that's what we're raising for the year. Come on, write the big check right now. You can make all of us happy. And that's what we need anyway. Good support to sustain us for the next generation as we continue to do these plays and do these readings in a safe environment, helping the playwright develop and then take them from the page to the stage. So make a donation right now. If you're having trouble making that link, go to thefsww.org. And that'll take you right to the donation page. Thank you for that donation. We thank you for your support. I send it right on back to you, Garland.
Thank you so much, Byron. And first, I really want to congratulate the entire cast. You did a phenomenal job. I want to thank Dr. Janice Liddell for bringing this play to us. And I want to call Garland Lee Thompson back to the stage. He'll be the moderator for the critique session. And this is an opportunity for you to give direct feedback to Dr. Liddell. If you want to put a comment, you can use the chat function or the Q&A. You can also use the raise your hand feature at the bottom of the toolbar to go on the mic. So take it away, Garland.
Thank you, Kimberly. And once again, thank you to everyone involved here in today's reading, our entire cast. Thank you to our incredible cast. Folks, just so you know, they've only had about 2 days, two rehearsals, I think, maybe not even like full rehearsals. So they've been working really hard the last couple of days to bring this to you. So I want to thank each and every one of them for their efforts. This is not easy material, subject matter wise, this is not easy stuff, especially, for our LeBlanc, our LeBlanc characters, Mama LeBlanc, Heidi, hats off to you, because I mean, she's saying a lot of stuff that, is just not great, not really great, but I mean, these are things that people have said, have and continue to say, unfortunately, right? So, so trying to, bring that to life, and you did wonderfully. So, it's tough. It's a tough thing. And all of this, and then also Adrienne on your side, right? With Mama Williams, I would get that right. Mama Williams, right? Who is like, she's deep in her, in her world, which is, it's very ironic because both of them say we have nothing in common, when really you look at it, they practically have everything in common, right? It's just one side of the coin or the other. One side is black, one side is white, right? And that's kind of like really ultimately the only difference. So it's very ironic, they are. So it's really, so it's interesting, and a lot of stuff. And Mama Williams is saying stuff too that's painful. She's coming up with memories. She's dealing with a lot of painful stuff, right? And going off that scene, was wrenching when she starts to lose it with the kids, when they're first talking about, going over there to do this, and I mean, it's very real, very real. So very much, and the kids, I have to say the kids, all of you, Lance, Ella, and Kat, y'all really, had some really important things to say. They say out of the mouths of babes, right? Y'all had some really important things to say, and you did it very well. So thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Liddell. Thank you, Janice, for bringing us this piece, for writing it, first of all, for taking the time to write it, because it takes a lot of time and effort to do these things. So thank you for putting in that time and that clear effort. Thank you, and thank you for bringing it to us. This is, it's very interesting. As much as we like to think that, we're beyond this kind of thing, these stories are still so raw and so important and so necessary. So that said, we're going to get into a little discussion here. Our raison d'etre for our moderated critique session is to get feedback for the playwright. This is not an interview session. If as a part of your comments, or there's something that will help you understand and make your comments, you want to find something out, she is absolutely free to respond. But really, her job is here to listen to all of you and to listen to your feedback. She's going to be taking notes. We'll be giving her transcripts and the recording of this afterwards. So, because she wants to continue to develop this piece. This piece is still in development. It's never been produced before. And so ultimately our goal is to help our playwrights take it, as Byron said, from the page to the stage, right? Because that's really what it's all about, is from the page to the stage. This is something that I could absolutely see produced. In fact, I was seeing it. My mind was going. I was seeing it in my head, right, already. So, and that's a good sign. So we're here to get creative. We're here to get feedback, positive feedback, not strictly positive, but critical feedback, right, in a respectful way. Right. So we want to be respectful, but we do want to hone in. And so, don't worry about being nice, or you want to be nice or this, but be honest. That's really what we want from folks, is your honesty, because that's what ultimately is going to help this writer, and also will help these other artists too, who have done this piece, who are themselves, in various stages of their own careers and development and learning about all of this. So your comments, your feedback about what they did, how they interpreted the roles, and also our director Byron with his help, how they interpreted that will help them. It will help our playwright. So that's what we're here to do. Okay. So that's it. Go ahead. Yes, please go ahead, Dan.
Kind of open it up, and just by saying thank you to these wonderful actors. It was not even 2 full rehearsals that they had. So I think you did a really marvelous job. I'm always skeptical when I see 2 rehearsals. I'm telling Byron, 2 rehearsals, is that all they're going to do? But you did an excellent job. And also I want to thank all the people who have come, who are part of our audience, and thank you for all of the accolades that you are posting. I love them. I love them. Post more, post more. But really and truly, what I want to hear is your responses to the play. Positive, negative, in between, whatever. I want to hear how you felt about it. And I think, Garland, you have a couple of questions there that you're going to raise for them.
Yes, that's right. You've got, yes, Janice has given us some questions that she'd like to get answers to. Kimberly will be putting those up in just a moment or two. So we'll see those. You'll be able to answer those online. So you'll just be able to click, and then we'll read out, we'll read out not everybody's answers, but, we'll read out the answers to the poll and to the questions. So which also we're going to be forwarding to Janice. So everything that she hears today, we're going to be making sure she forwards it. We forward it to her. She gets a copy of it. So everything, as she said, negative, positive, everything in between. It's really all about honesty, because what we're trying to do is make this play as strong as it can possibly be. That's the way it's going to get produced. When somebody sees it, now it's already started, which is great. It's already starting in a really good place. Janice, you've already got us. The work you've done has brought us to a place now where it's now kind of ready, if you will, to start branching out, spreading its wings, and going to what folks like to say, the next level. Right. So we're going to have, so we're going to get those questions up. I see we've got, Kimberly, we've got some comments. We got a bunch.
We do. Let me get caught up on the comments. Let's see. Happy Black History Month, everyone, as well. And let's see. Marcia Cross says, Janice, great writing. Cheryl Burgess says, thank you for this wonderful reading. Dr. Janice is my family. I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. We have people visiting from all around the world. Someone is from Mexico, so thank you so much for logging in. Redwood, Washington. Let's see, someone from Atlanta. Vicky Ross Norris. Hi, Vicky. She says, hi, Adrienne. It's good to see you. You did an excellent job. Faye Cofield says, like your other productions, this is a wonderful play. I just wish we had more community-based theaters where we could see plays like this. Crystal Keith says, excellent. Let's see. Vicky also says the story is very moving and is extremely important, especially at this pivotal time in our nation. Thank you, Dr. Liddell. And Adrienne, our own Adrienne, says, thank you all for this wonderful read. She has to get to another rehearsal. She loved every bit of it. Such a great play. Always loved the opportunity to support and be a part of FSWW. Thanks, Byron, for thinking of me. And Alan Alberga, I hope I got that right, says timely presentation of the inner emotions of Black and white America. So we really appreciate your comments. You can use a comment. We'd love to have your voice come into the conversation. You can use the raise your hand feature to go on the mic. Thank you.
Yep, just put your hand up and Kim will bring you on the mic. So, and I just want to say really quick to Alan, that is a very thank you for that comment. That's a very insightful comment, because that is exactly what this is, a very timely representation of the inner emotions of both Black and white Americans. These are the things that they're saying behind closed doors, in their living rooms, in their dining rooms, and what have you, in their homes, but they're not saying in public, right? And these are actually the things we need to know about. So thank you very much for that. Star Shadow says, I really have no negatives. Thank you, Star Shadow. It was powerful. The actors did a great job. Actors, you hear that? You did a great job. Thank you very much. Lance, by the way, I want to point out, we met Lance last summer at the the International Black Theater Festival. And so it's great to be able to work with him again. So thank you for joining us.
Great to work with you, Garland, of course.
Absolutely.
I knew I recognized you. I was like, oh my God, it's Garland.
Good to see you. And Seth, thank you for joining us. This is his first time with us. And Kat, thank you for joining us. This is your first time. And Heidi, thank you for joining us. I'm so excited. What you did, your work was just really dynamite. So thank you. And of course to Adrienne and Hannibal, thank you. Without his dulcet tones, oh my God, where would we be, right? So, but anyway.
Ella.
And Ella, yes. Let me not forget Ella. That's right. Thank you. Let me not forget
Taboo
Ella.
families here.
Thank you.
In Zynga, so let's not forget Ella. Last but never least, you might say, right? But Ella, who stepped in and did a great job. So thank you very much. All of you did really wonderful. So please put your hands up. Put your hands up. We want to hear from you. We love hearing your voices. We love you to be a part of the conversation. Actors, speak up if you got anything you want to say. Just jump right in. You guys can unmute yourselves. So jump right in. Byron, I believe you had your hand up. You wanted to say something?
Yes, I also wanted to acknowledge Dion Sims from Fort Worth, Texas, was viewing this read-through. And Dion Sims is the granddaughter of Dr. Opal Lee, the Juneteenth grandeur herself. So she was on because Janice and I are working to write a Broadway musical about the life of Queen Opal and her walk for freedom. So Dion Sims, you're on. We're loving you. Thank you so very much. This is important. This is how we do this, so that the stories that we're telling folks, these are real stories. These are the stories that we need to hear that are being excluded from our schools and taken out, the book stories and books that are basically telling you about these heroes and sheroes from that time period and beyond. So we appreciate your comments, your criticisms, constructive and concerns, but let's have that conversation. Let us begin to bridge the racial divide. And it starts, believe it or not, with an art. Art and theater can help us make the healing happen. So this is why we're here doing this. But thank you. I'm going to turn it over to the folks who want to talk as well.
Thank you, Byron. You know, it's great that you hit on that point, because that was something that I wrote down as I was listening to this, that I wrote down the beautiful idea that art has the power to change hearts and minds, right? That to me seems to be, for me at least, that came across as like the theme, right? The overarching theme, because that's what we're building up to, and we see that. So this is good. So let's dig in. First of all, is there anybody out there in the audience that would like to say anything right now? Okay, all right, I'll start calling on people. Sometimes you have to do that, right?
For the actors?
Yeah, I absolutely want to call on some of the actors. Let's start with Mama LeBlanc, Heidi Cox. Let's hear from Heidi, and then I see Odele, I hope I got your name right, has raised her hand, so we'll hear from Cheryl right after Heidi. Heidi, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks. You just want me to...
Any thoughts you'd like to share? Because you worked with this text now, for the last couple of days. So you've been going on it and having to figure out, well, God, how to deal with saying these things, right? So
right. Yeah. Such powerful dialogue, first of all. I mean, Dr. Liddell is an incredibly talented writer. I actually called Byron yesterday because I was telling him about how, the text is very sensitive, the subject is very sensitive, and it is a cliche thing for me to say that I have never said things like this before. So it was a little uncomfortable at first, but I'm here to tell the story. That's the important thing. And I wanted to be there for that and help move that story forward. So Byron worked with me a little bit so I could get out of my head with that. And someone else in the comments also mentioned that they liked that it showed not just the racial divide, but also the patriarchy as well. Like her being kind of afraid of her husband in a way, like that definitely comes through as well. Yeah, she's kind of hard to like, Miss LeBlanc. Like she's definitely in a lot of denial, I think, and that's true. I think it does come through in the community. In our community, there's a lot of white guilt, I guess you could say, where you're ashamed. You'd rather avoid. You don't want to say the wrong thing in front of people. There are people that have these discussions behind closed doors. It is true. And, I'm not happy to portray that, but I think it's necessary to portray something like that because it is something that happens.
Thank you. Yeah, no, thank you. It's tough to play characters, that are saying vile things, and so here's now the reason why, I'm starting with with one of the actors here is because sometimes how an actor, like how words come out of an actor's mouth, like if it took like, oh wow, it's kind of tough to get out of my mouth somehow. It's just, I don't know, I've got to really work hard to get this out versus words just kind of being able to flow out, right? So that's something that a playwright can learn from at these readings, right?
Sure.
So right, so it seemed like though things were flowing pretty smoothly from that point, right?
I feel like I found a rhythm. I hope I did your text justice, Dr. Liddell.
Thank you.
Of course. Yeah, no, it's very powerful dialogue. So, and yeah, I don't really have anything else to say, but that I'm
Awesome.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Heidi. All right, let's hear from Cheryl. Cheryl's got her hand up and it looks like we've got someone else. So let's hear from our folks in the audience.
Oh, good evening.
Good
I'm a
evening.
big fan of Dr. Liddell's work. And one of the things that I love about her work is that she does amplify the hidden stories, the things that we don't always know about American history, and I'm including Black history. And she puts that forward. So I really liked the fact that this not only talked about the girls who died in the bombing, but also all of their violence that was going on and the effect that it had on people.
Oh, did we lose?
We lost your audio, Cheryl.
Cheryl, yeah.
And amplify.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, there we go.
Have you heard anything?
Yeah. Can you just repeat what you just said? We sort of lost you for a moment.
Oh, okay. So I was saying that I really like the fact that Dr. Liddell amplifies stories in Black history that we don't always hear about, and the fact that we went beyond just the people who actually died in the bombing, but we went to the other violence that was occurring, and also the effect that it had on people outside of those particular people. I'm sorry, something happened on my phone. So
I'm sorry, I
think
just
it's really
launched a
important about-
survey.
Oh,
go ahead,
okay.
Cheryl.
So I think
Yeah.
that's particularly important about her work in general. I do think though that I'm sorry, I don't have everybody's name, all the characters' names, but the character that Heidi played, I think that I understood some of her hesitancy in their meeting, and having this Black woman in her home and being a bit nervous about her husband coming home and what he might feel about that. But I think that she also could have been a little bit more assertive because her husband wasn't there. And however she's feeling, whether she's feeling a little bit more empowered because he's not there, or whether she feels more protective of his views and that she has to articulate them, I think that she could be a little bit more, we could hear a little bit more whatever her voice is. She just seemed a little too accommodating, and so I think that was one of my thoughts. But I just love Dr. Liddell's work. Congratulations.
Thank you, Cheryl.
That's excellent point, and I think that is spot on, because I think without that, right, of which Cheryl is talking about, without that, then we run the risk of her becoming two-dimensional and stereotypical and just a cliched. Oh, just another, white woman who's afraid of her husband, who can't speak, and she's just, who doesn't have a voice. And so, at all costs, certainly in my opinion, at all costs, we want to avoid stereotypical, and we want to avoid cliches, and we want to avoid two-dimensional, right? Especially when we're dealing with subjects like this, that is really timely, number one, which is also awesome. You're writing about a timely subject here, and which is very real, very, very real. Go ahead, Heidi. Yep.
I think that may have been a performative thing more than it was a writing thing. I think it's in the
Okay.
writing for sure. It was
Okay.
probably a choice that I made inadvertently, but I think it's a really good point. Very much so.
Great. Thank you so
Excellent.
much for your comments. And I do want to just, highlight a comment from Bhavani Indu. I hope I got that right. They said, actually, it's quite magnificent, emotional, thought-provoking, and love the style of rhythmic flow. Loved it. And there's some more comments coming into the chat. Christy Lennon says, Heidi, you were very brave, and this work is important, especially your role. Dr. Georgianne Thomas says the actors were superb. Great. And Kat, I don't know if you want to say your comment or you want me to read your comment. I'll read it, Dr. Janice. Thank you so much for your important words and sharing them with us all. We need to save those uncomfortable truths out loud more. And Rhonda says, kudos to all. And I think we are caught up. And we do have Vicky who wants to go on the mic next. Go ahead, Vicky.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Byron. Hi, Kimberly. Hi,
Vicky.
Garland. I'm like a junkie now, aren't I, Byron? Thanks a lot, buddy. I wanted to say that I am very familiar with the story. Not that I was in Birmingham, but my cousin's husband, who's deceased now, grew up with these young girls. He grew up in Birmingham. He was at a Presbyterian church when the bomb went off. He was an altar boy. All these years, he never forgot it. And he constantly told us about the story because it shattered his world. He remained a friend with the lady that's still alive until his death. As a matter of fact, she attended his funeral in Birmingham. The thing that I think is very poignant about this story is that you took a doctor to another approach. You brought the story to the humanality of the story, which my cousin's husband constantly told me about. I mean, most every time I saw him, believe it or not, he and I would have our personal conversations and he would bring it up. And what you did in this story is that you made it different. The message was different. It wasn't that it wasn't what happened, but you showed how the community was affected by it. And that's what I learned from the story, from him telling me. Matter of fact, the last time that we were together, he said he wished he could have written the story when he was younger because he actually felt the bomb vibrate as he was walking to the altar to light the candles. He remembers everything. He said it was such a terrible moment in Birmingham that they expected just to walk down the street because there was not more bombing than just this one. It was, he said it became in his community, bombing Birmingham. Yes. He grew up like that. Yes. Feeling that every moment there would be a bomb going off. And that's part of the history people don't know, that the people that were living there, how it has tainted their lives even today, and that they continue to tell the story when they see other people in their life, because it's overwhelming. And the other thing that he mentioned was that a lot of people don't know that Angela Davis grew up in that community, and she happened to not be at church at that time. She attended the 16th Street Baptist Church. And he mentioned that too, because he was saying, just think what would have happened if these 4 young girls, my friends, hadn't died. And he mentioned another thing about the lady, I can't remember her name, but who survived. He says he remembers going to school with her and how when they saw that she had the eye, that nobody would say anything to her about it because it was so painful for her and her classmates. And that's a very interesting side that you showed, that is something of that nature doesn't just happen and disappears. It continuously is carried on through generations. And I appreciate you for doing that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vicky. Yeah, and that is important. That is a very important point. Thank you. Very, very vibrant point, because, you know, again, this is certainly, this particular incident and civil rights in general has been covered, you know, a lot, you know, has been covered a lot over the years, from news to documentaries to films to stories. I mean, covered a lot. Right. But a lot of it, one can look at it and go, well, it kind of comes from these particular perspectives, but we're leaving it out. And so what you've done here, Janice, by looking at this, at the effects of what was what was terrorism, right? Domestic terrorism against a particular segment of the population by another segment of the population, right? That's something that doesn't get a lot of acknowledgement in all the stories that you see out. Certainly all the stuff that goes in the mainstream. So taking that approach, I think, is really excellent. I would definitely agree with Vicky. So thank you for pointing that out. And that's also very tough too, because, you know, it can become very didactic if one isn't careful, right? And getting that information out, getting those facts out, but you never slid into that, which is great, which is really great. So that's very positive. Do we have another hand up, Kimberly? Or
Yeah, we do. We have Carol will go on the mic, and then Seth will go up after her. Take it away, Carol. Thank you.
Okay, good evening. This was just a great experience for me. So I'm glad I could get on at the last minute. I think I like the way the play approaches memory. We have to remember history, we have to remember the stories, because as Morrison said, American literature, and I submit American history, without the experience of indigenous and other people of color, would be incoherent. So I think that it's an important work. But what I want to ask is something that is slightly outside the box. We are in very dangerous times, and this play represents to me what I would call dangerous discourse. With, lunatics in high places and so on, and lunatics with power in high places. So how do we preserve the arts and people who create the arts to maintain? How do we save these people, and how do we save these works, and how do they continue in performance, unharassed performance? I could go on and on about funding and so on and so forth, but we have to be creative and think of alternative kinds of ways to keep this history alive. Because it could be driven underground easily.
True. And
Absolutely.
we have the Underground Railroad still. The Underground Railroad is a place like the Frank Silvera Writers Workshop.
Amen.
50 years we have been doing this. And in order to continue this preservation of story, preservation of plays, preservation of talent, because you're right, we may have to go underground, but guess what? We're familiar with the underground. We are the Underground Railroad Express. So if we continue to tell these stories, and just think about this, live streaming, cable, network is available, and access points are available to us just like this, so that if indeed, just like in Watch Night Service, when we had to go up into the upper room, and we were there fearing for whatever was outside that room. However, we can still tell the stories. We're griots or griots, depending on how you want to say the word. We are the storytellers. And if it doesn't get on this platform, guess what? We're still going to have that moment where we can sit down with our grands and our nieces and nephews and sons and daughters and tell the story just like they did in Africa around the campfire. You cannot keep the drum dead. The drum is the beat of our heart, the beat of our story, and we will continue to tell these stories. And if we can't sing it, we'll do it in art. If we can't put it on the stage, we'll put it on film. One way or the other, we're going to continue that legacy that we're doing. And that's why your support is really critical for us to continue to keep these images and stories alive. Thank you for your ongoing support.
I wanted to say something as a playwright. I respect and honor and appreciate all of what we're talking about here about the Underground Railroad. But as a playwright, I want to see my play on a stage. However, take the position of my dear friend Carol Marsh Lockett, who just made that comment, because I can see that if this play is on a stage, that there could be harassment, there could be all kinds of things going on. And I'm like Carol, how do we protect the playwright and the theater and the actors from that kind of terrorism?
Yeah.
It's a big question. It's absolutely a big question. What and as time goes on, and as the whatever threats may be out there reveal themselves, then so will the answers to these questions. I don't think we'll have any answers here, but one of the things, to tag on to kind of piggyback on what Byron was saying is exactly what you're doing here today. Carol, by logging in today, by taking the time to sit and listen to these stories, and then by, sharing the link to the video that will be coming out afterwards with people that you know, and by sharing that information and sharing the stories. So that's, that is at the very minimum something that we can all do, and not just us, because we are not the only organizations that are out there doing it, but there are other theaters, libraries, supporting the libraries, speaking to the elected representatives, making your voice heard that way. There's a number of things that we can continue to do, no matter how crazy or bad it looks. And I think there's also something to remember, is that all sides use theater to their purposes, just like folks like us who are trying to do the right thing, and and want to be on the right side of history, just like us, we're using theater to tell the story. Others use theater to tell a different story, to tell their story, when we may not agree with it. But the thing why I point that out is because sometimes theater, you have to remember, theater is theater and reality is reality. And those are two different things. And a lot of what we see out there in the mainstream is people trying to convince us that something is going on, and that there is no, as the Borg would say in Star Trek, resistance is futile.
Can I just add one more thing? If you have any connection with the theater, do make sure that you let them know about the play you just saw, and when the recording comes out, maybe even send them a copy of the recording so that they can see what you saw.
Exactly. So basically sharing information, because that's information and truth is what saves everybody, whether they know it or not. So keep sharing it. We've got a couple more people. Seth, I think, wants to come. I want to hear from
next,
Seth.
and then we'll have let's see, was it Cheryl Burgess after Seth? Go ahead,
Okay.
Seth. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this play, and it's opened my eye in a different type of way. And I feel like this was a very changing of perspective to me, because growing up as a kid, in school they wouldn't really teach us in depth on history, and so I had to go on my own and learn about these certain type of things. So I really just want to thank the staff. I want to thank Dr. Liddell and all of you for giving me the opportunity to be in part of this. And I hope we can do this sometime again. So
I like the way he thinks.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Seth.
I got to give Seth his props, because he works with Boza Rivers, and the theater that he comes from is in New York, and it's a youth theater company. So Cheryl and Carol, these are the places, the institutions which continue to be able to tell these stories. So Seth is part of that generation. He's coming up from that moment, and he's learning this as a trade and bringing it forward and getting the experience in this process now. And so I expect to see a lot more from Seth. He's just the beginning of a new relationship, and helping to make sure that he continues his journey in the business, and having the opportunity to tell the stories that, like he says, he has done his research, and we appreciate you. Thank you so very much, Seth.
And I'd just like to add on that Seth is out of school this week, so he's actually, putting in some extra time. We really, really appreciate you being here, Seth. I know you could be doing other things. You did a great job.
Yeah,
thank you so
definitely.
much.
Right.
Great
Thank
job,
you so
Seth.
much.
Yeah, thank
I'll be in contact.
Thank
That's
you.
wonderful. I look forward to somewhere down the road saying we knew about him first. We had him
Okay.
first.
When he gets that Tony.
Right?
Yeah.
We get that Tony Award, we're going to say, yes, we knew him way back when.
Yes.
So thank you, Seth. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We've got Cheryl has got her hand up. I also want to give Lance a chance. I want to hear from Lance, because I know Lance has got some thoughts here. So I like to, and plus, his character, Janice, I really love his character. His character was, he was great. He was great. He was what was needed in, in terms of, like comic relief or just something to help, help kind of bring us back from the brink a little bit, and his kind of, for lack of a better term, his joie de vivre, if you will, and his excitement about having his buddy there and what have you. There was a lot of wonderful stuff going on. So Lance, I want to give you a chance to, hopefully, if you want to share something with us, okay? But let's go to, let's swing it back here because we want to look at this play. So let's swing it back to this script here and what we've got. Cheryl, what have you got to say to us?
For me, it was a moment of joy, anger, pain, frustration, but my family was there. They told me the history. They're from Alabama. They're from Mississippi. I didn't understand a lot of it, but they constantly repeated it from generation to generation. I did it to my children. I did it to my grandchildren. And one of the things about it, it shows fear can be there, but it still didn't shut down the truth. They say things didn't happen, but I know theater means a place of seeing and acting and bringing out the truth. So the truth is still being shown, but no matter how painful or how much hurt come with it, it's still a part of a healing and a growing process. And no matter how they try to shut you down and put the fear, I watched the resilience of the family. My grandmother was there. I watched them through Jim Crow. I watched them. So all of this fear mongering that they have, I refuse to shut down. They said, oh, you're a teacher, you can't talk. I'm not going to be denied to tell this story. Everybody else tell theirs, whether it was Confederate, whether it was this, whether it was the Holocaust. But when it comes to telling the Black pain, everybody wants you to shut up.
Your favorite phrase is get over it.
Yes, and I refuse to. A lot of Blacks died, those girls. If it means that I'm going to die because I'm going to tell my history, so be it. But I'm not going to stop talking.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Amen
Thank
to
you
that.
so much.
Amen to that, Cheryl. Thank you. Heidi has put a comment I want to read in here real quick. Thank you, Heidi. Another thing that is really great about this is that the women in this story are the main focus, the two girls and the mothers. More women-fronted content is needed out there. This play has it, and the women are talking about real issues that are so important. Absolutely. Heidi, spot on. Absolutely. Is fantastic to see the women as lead characters, to see them, to see them wrangling with these issues and to see them grow too, and I think that's something that's important. You do show that in there, and that's good. That's great. Maybe there's ways you can, other ways you can show that more, show that growth. Because especially, like Mama LeBlanc is having some revelations. I think, she's going on have to, and even Mrs. Williams, Ms. Williams she is also, there's some opportunity there for her to have some realizations too, which she does after seeing the piece, right? So there's some areas to explore. Thank you, Heidi. Let's see, we have
Did Lance want to? Yeah, Lance, did you want to say something?
You got anything you want to add to this?
Oh yeah, sure. Again, Dr. Liddell, thank you again for writing important piece like this. It really was a great time to work and be a part of this. I think the really interesting thing about this piece was this kind of concept, or at least from like being one of the kids, like from their perspective, it's very interesting to see what kids can bring out of their parents. Regardless of the world that they used to live in or what they may have known as their life, what kids can tend to do is bring them back to the present and bring them present day truths and things that maybe weren't traditionally accepted years when they were growing up or something like that. So, and I think that's the way it's been for all of eternity and humankind. Children will bring out the best in parents, and I think you can also bring out the worst in parents. Either way, it humanizes them in a way that I think without them would not be the same. And so I think that the children, it's written very, very particularly that they support this kind of transition that, at least for Mary Lou, her kind of realization of what she may have been blind to previously. And so that was really intriguing to play with and to push my other actors with as well. And I very much appreciate the opportunity again to work on important work like this. Things like this should be done much more often, and even just to hear not only from other actors but also from people who have watched this already today, it's all eye-opening, and I'm taking this all very openly with an open heart. So yes, thank you again. Thank you again.
Thank you, Lance. Thank you, Lance.
Thank you so much, Lance.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great because I wanted to hear from you because the kids, that's another part of this. Okay. So Heidi has pointed out the women, right? That the women are up front, but there's also the children. And as we know from history, we know in 1963, the Children's March, right? There was the Children's March. The children, there were children, there were children in their teens, right? Preteens even, that wanted to go out, that were aware of the struggle and wanted to help, like any kids want to do. They want to help their family, they want to help their friends, they wanted to be a part of it. And there was that struggle because there were the parents, right? And Janice, I know you know this, there were the parents that were like, no, I got to keep you out of there. No, you're not going to have dogs sitting on my kids or anything like that. And the kids were like, but mom, but dad, teenagers. Years ago I played a character, a young man from Mississippi of all places, who basically defied his parents to join the civil rights movement. They were dead set against it, but he went ahead and joined. And there was that struggle, right? All right. Now it's also interesting because then on the LeBlanc side, on the White's family side, you have this incredible wide-ranging discussion and questioning. I mean, Lance's character, right? Lance's character, he's pushing some buttons. He's, and not just, and it's very interesting because it isn't just the kids, right, ganging up on the adult, ganging up on mom, and mom trying to defend herself, but it's the kids kind of going at it too, because he calls out his sister, which mom also calls her out on the same thing, like, oh, this is just the latest thing. You're trying to be all hip and cool, and it's all, so that's why you want to do this, right? And then there's the struggle of the daughter, right? Of not wanting to be what they're saying, but really genuinely having speech. So it's really interesting how you had that conversation going, and I'd be very curious to hear what folks thought about that and how that was handled. Is there anything that you thought could be added, could be taken away, could be so if there's anybody that would like to throw anything out there on that, would love to hear from you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. We really appreciate it. I'm going to be ending the poll soon, so if you want to complete that, please go ahead and do that. I'm going to read a couple of comments and then have Dr. Georgianne Thomas come up. Let's see. Vicky says, spot on, Lance. The children shall lead us out of our insanity. Yes. And Star Shadow Nun says, never shut up. I'm white and I try to educate people and talk about the history. It's still reverberating. Racism isn't over and never will be until white people face the stuff they don't want to. This play will be a great tool if it can be seen widely, but it's important that we all aren't afraid to confront it all. 74 here. The kids will lead just as they always have. Thank you so much. And go ahead, Dr. Thomas.
First, I love you. You got me hooked now. Saunders got me hooked and Liddell got me hooked. I just love them, and they can't do any wrong. But I won't take up much time out, and I want to repeat the same thing. I must say that the timelessness of it is just superb. But I wanted to say to Dr. Liddell, the geography was so well. I love the geography of the play. I don't know if anybody else would think about the geography part, but she was very clear on North Birmingham and the other side of the mountain and where people live. I mean, it was what was needed. And then the other part of the geography was identifying the schools, because people went to Parker You see, so I'm not from Birmingham, but my daughter has and her husband have a home over in Mountain Brook, and I never understood why they did it, but they just bought the house in Mountain Brook. And I said all that to say that when they moved over there, the people, of course, treated them like they would treat them, being the only Black people that live on their street. And when I heard the way that Dr. Liddell took time, because that wasn't the most interesting part, but to identify the different places in the play brought it to my attention to say, well, my daughter lives in Mountain Brook. She's talking about my daughter. And then I thought about my classmates who went to Parker, and I just want to commend you on the geography. I want to commend you on the well-balanced tension. It was tension on both sides. It was very sort of the tension was balanced. And so I commend you on all of it. I want to make sure I said that. And then the third thing is that it reminded me of Toni Morrison. Your writing reminds me of Toni Morrison, because especially the play the essay, that we teach at Clark Atlanta, recitative. And you know how well done that is. You don't really know, but you know. And so in your case, in this play, it just brought to my mind that there was a Toni Morrison thread. You're not trying to be Toni Morrison. You're already Dr. Janice Liddell. But I'm just, if you don't mind me inserting that, I don't mean to. I just want you to know that's what I saw as it compares to Toni Morrison's. She did 2 essays, and one of them was recitative, and so it was all about that. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Georgienne.
Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Thomas. Really appreciate it. Thank you for coming back too. Always a pleasure to see you here. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Very good points. Very good points, right there.
Say that, well, Byron knows that I'm a researcher. Whenever I'm writing a play, I definitely research. I don't want to be caught by anybody who knows saying that I don't know. So I do really thorough research. Thank you for noticing that, Georgienne.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's true. And thank you also, Jordan, for bringing that up, because geography, that's something that a lot of people don't necessarily consider so much, either when hearing a story or when creating a story, is how that can put you in different places. I had an experience last year where I read the biography, the memoir of Joseph Papp, who was founder of the Public Theater, his wife, right? Gail Merrifield Pipe. I read this thing, and throughout it, she sprinkled it with all the various locations and places that they did, not just the big building downtown, but where they started, other theaters, other places. And I found myself going to those places when I went to those places, because I grew up in New York, so I knew those places. So it really helped to inform the story. So you're doing that, you're using that geography like that, and that pulling in that great research. Clearly, you're a research master, without a doubt. But pulling that in there, I think, is a really effective way of kind of talking about Birmingham without talking about Birmingham. You know what I mean? Which is really great. Which is really great when you can do that, because anybody can just blah, 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 blab in our face, blah, 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 throw all these facts and blah, blah, blah. Oh, it's horrible. Oh, these people do this. And it's like, oh my God, I could care less. It's just a wall of sound, right? But that's really intriguing. It's like you slip it in past the defenses, right? Which is really awesome. That's something that Bertolt Brecht, the great playwright who wrote Three Penny Operas, known for Three Penny Opera and many other wonderful plays, that's the technique he used to use. He used to find ways to slip in his social commentary and what he was trying to say, his message, slip it in there, get people tapping their feet and listening to music and laughing and, oh, belly laughs, oh my God, this is great. They're completely, bam, he slips it in and it gets in there and it does its work. So that's wonderful that you did that. That's wonderful, and so, and Georgienne picked up on it, and that was great. And other people will pick up on it as well, probably more subconscious than anything, but it's really powerful.
Great. Thank you so much for your comments and for everything that's being said. I do want to read a couple more comments and then get to the survey. We have Jermaine James. We read her play Bars 2 plays ago. You can check it out on our YouTube channel. Jermaine says, always a heart-expanding experience to fellowship with you.
Thank you, Jermaine.
And
Good to see you.
I think we're caught up
Okay,
with everything.
Can I just say one thing? I don't know if my son is on here now. I know he'll see the recording if not, but I gave him like a paragraph of what I wanted the skit to be about. And he was the one who put it in that format. So I just want to say thank you to him if he's on.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. No, that's something I would love to hear some before we get out of here. I would love to hear some thoughts, any thoughts and comments from our audience, from our listeners, from anybody about the skit itself, because there's a big buildup to it. It's a big build, so it's a really important thing. So it's got to be good. It can't be like, oh my God, this is like third graders did this. It has to be on point, right? And it is. What you got is working. It's very strong and is working. And clearly, tapping into your son's abilities there. Right move to do, for sure. But I'd love to hear any thoughts if anybody want to talk about that performance, because it is a very interesting, and it's funny. And as I saw it and I was listening to it, I was also envisioning ways that it could be staged. I was seeing lighting cues and different things happen. You know what I mean? It was really, it really was evocative in that way. But is there anybody out there who'd like to say anything about that? Any comments, any thoughts, anyone? This could include actors too, so.
It was very challenging to direct it because using the Zoom platform, there are technical things that we can't accomplish, but the rhythms, and you have to trust the actors' inner thoughts and third eye, because it's still language. And for them, the young people feeling a rhythm, and it's a rap. Okay, so I'm not a rap artist. I love the rap, but for me, it's the poetry of it, and then letting the young actors find the spaces for which they felt emotional and bring the emotion out, because talking about boom, the bomb itself, and then understanding that you can take the word and explode it so that it has impact, it resonates. And then talking about we shall overcome. That moment you're supposed to hear it humming in the background, but then the challenge as a director trying to bring it forward to a reading is then to understand that you can't do everything that you want on stage, but you can be creative. Yes. Remember, the imagination is the biggest and greatest nation in the world.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And for what we're doing here at this stage of development too, what our main focus, of course, and it has to be, is is hearing it, right? And hearing everything. And so, and yeah, of course, absolutely. I mean, and any kind of issues or whatever, or challenges one may face, or interesting alternatives or whatever may have to face from something like this Zoom platform is really no different than one faces in an actual theater, in a live space somewhere, whether you're in a basement, whether you're on a Broadway stage, whether you're in a church, at a church pew, or wherever you might be. So that's always going to be, and so it's always really interesting. But Janice, you gave your director enough to work with, that there were alternatives, right? There were workarounds, and that's part of what a writer should do too. Now, a couple things. One thing I wanted to say before we get to one thing I want to say, just from a craft point of view. This is strictly craft, okay? Strictly craftsman. I would love it if you took a look at that whole first scene with the LeBlanc family and just see, because I do think it's really great. There's a lot of stuff going on. Like I said, I love what the kids are doing, what the kids are going back and forth, the brother, the daughter, et cetera, et cetera. But I think you can tighten that up a little bit. Okay, so you might want to look at that. All right, I think there's some places you can tighten up. Take a look there. Sometimes stuff gets repeated, and that's fine as long as it's a choice to be repeated and not like a subconscious thing that's sort of slipped through and what have you. So I would encourage you to, just, and again, this is strictly from a craft point of view, because what they're saying, the things that they are saying, it really is a great conversation, even as painful as it may be, to hear the things that they're saying, to hear these these kind of cringeworthy attitudes being expressed and what have you. Still, it was a joy to hear it and to hear the honesty of it, you know, because I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but I find even when it's painful, there's a certain wonderfulness about honesty, right? There's just, you know, even though it's painful as hell and it's like you're ripping the scab, but it's because, you know, there's something better on the other side of it. It's leading you to something better, right? So the honesty is incredible. So it's just strictly just craft. Look, you know, look, right? Yeah. So let's take a look. We've got our poll here. So we've got 3 questions that Janice wanted to pose to everyone. And so let's go through them. Kim, I'll let you let us know who said what, but our first question was, what did you find as the strength or strengths, plural, of the play, and the weaknesses? So we're looking for strengths and weaknesses. Does anybody want to comment on that?
You want me to just read the...
Yeah, we have some. Okay. So yeah, sorry, let's read the answers and then we'll go from there.
Okay, so Jermaine writes, the honesty is a strength. Weakness, perhaps the Black characters are a tad more dimensional than the white ones. I don't feel qualified to judge. Someone else wrote, the sentiments of both sides are very well expressed. I wish there would have been a more developed response to the white woman when she said the Black mom was hard to talk to. And someone also wrote, the strengths were how Ms. LeBlanc's responses to the whole Black-white issues, as well as the Black mother. I couldn't think of any weaknesses. Someone else wrote, many strengths, dialogue, actors' interpretations, especially given the small number of rehearsals. And Vicky says, the strength of the play lies in its presentation of the story from multiple points of view, which makes it highly relevant.
Mm-hmm.
That's number 1.
Let me say this real quick before we move on to 2 while I'm thinking about it. I think you have a great opportunity there, Janice. You've got a moment there where Mrs. LeBlanc, right, is telling I believe it's about, there was a death in her family. I believe it was
the shooting, yes.
Right, the shooting, right? It was telling, right? So, and now it's very interesting because also Ms. Williams, on the other side, she's dealing with the death of her husband. So both of them are dealing with death, maybe one a little closer to home than the other, but still. But I feel like that's a moment I think that humans can connect on, right? And even though we've got Mrs. Williams is deep in her world and her feelings, as a human, there may be an opportunity to allow them to relate, if you will, for just a brief moment before retreating back to, you know, and I'm just suggesting there may be, for you, this is something for you to play with, because I felt like that could be a real humanizing moment, like, you know, like, because if it's all we're just button heads the whole time, then you run the risk of it becoming kind of one note, right? And this relationship is not one note at all. So that may be, so I just want to throw that out there to you as maybe something to consider, because I felt like that was there was an interesting opportunity there. Okay, and as well as, of course, you know, you did it as well when the flip side, when Ms. LeBlanc hears about their father, about Ms. Williams' husband dying, there it's also kind of a similar thing. So those are like moments where they can really kind of see, oh, maybe we do have more in common, but it's still, you know, of course, but without releasing that tension that you got. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Okay. Next question. Was the dichotomous / oppositional tension in the relationship of the 2 mothers realistic? Very good question. What are our answers?
Let's see. We have racism and how it affects both Blacks and whites, unexpressed opinions about it, and how to heal, move forward. Let's see. Jermaine says, as a Northerner and Jewish, I'm not sure how realistic the tension is, but I trust Dr. Liddell's perspective, and I'm eager to learn from her. Both mothers were being realistic, especially during the actual era of the bombing. Sharing this reading, They both had feelings of both white people and black people. And another one wrote, yes, I think so. In the beginning, I thought the, quote, angry black mom, unquote, was too much, but beautifully juxtaposed by the genteel upbringing of the white woman. Stereotypes worked extremely well. And Vicky wrote, I believe the mother's tension was palpable. Thank you.
Okay, so there you go. So there are great ways. You're already in there with these well-drawn, characters that are both firmly ensconced in their worlds, right? And it is really interesting because you are, clearly, some people will say, oh my God, the angry black woman. Then we see the really genteel, the southern white woman. But that's also a little bit of a front too, right? There's a little bit of a front going on there, right? And actually on both sides, there's a little bit of a front going on there, right? Because people get strength from anger, right? So they, it's like the child, it's almost a little bit like the child who realizes they can get attention if they scream and holler, right? And so they may not be upset, but they scream and holler because they want attention, right? And so we give them oh, you okay, right? So some interesting things going on there. Third question was
Byron was about to say something.
Oh, sorry, Byron, go ahead.
You're muted, Byron.
You're muted.
In between our breaks, I was watching Tennessee Williams' Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. And as I was watching it, I was thinking about the Southern Gothic. This is a playwright who eloquently writes about that whole, his storyline. You take it from Cat on a Hot Tin Roof or Streetcar Named Desire, and he has that pinpointed. But in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, he is very apologetic almost of the wealth of families of wealth. And how do they spend their time? And then, of course, with the one word that comes out that is floated throughout the entire play, especially after the son, his sports announcer son, played by Paul Newman, says, what are you afraid of? And he says, mendacity. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, there it is right there, because it's being apologetic for the wealth and telling lies about themselves to each other, trying to convince themselves they can buy their way almost out of anything. And that Tennessee Williams is perfectly defining what we're going through right now in this, because yes, we have our Black writers can write about the white experience because we've been in their households. But when they're not in our households, having the white writer write about the Black experience is sometimes questioned because it is then viewed to be more stereotypical and more cartoonish. But then I watched The Help Saturday, and I was like, oh my goodness, here we go again, because now that is the period for which this story takes place in 1963. And having the maids working in that Mississippi home is like, okay. And then hearing the LeBlanc family is very much the same style. And I'm like, oh, good. This is really having an opportunity to, yes, it's stereotyping both sides, but there's a point in when we have to have the conversations be almost in opposition of each other. And that was the challenge for both Heidi and for Adrienne, was to bring that about and know that they were going at each other, but in a very polite, Southern, genteel kind of way. And then they had to flip it so that they could understand each other's stories. And that's why I really appreciate what Kat and Ella brought to the stage for their doing the rap, because they really honed in on the language and the poetry of it, and even for their own rhythm, without having beatbox or anything else, they still gave it motion and emotion. And I really appreciate the work. And we did that in 45 minutes on Kimberly yesterday. So, we only had to give or take 45 minutes or so, but yes, but still, you have to, as a director, I find I have to trust the actor to tell the character and give life to the character. And if they do that, then Janice can hear it. as a writer, it comes alive. And that's the thing that's not very important about what we do here at Frank Silvera Writers Workshop. Both the writer and the characters come alive. And it's powerful moments. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
What are go ahead and our third question is, and also let me just say really quickly too, with the mothers, the whole Southern Gentile thing was very interesting to see the different stories that both mothers, both families told each other, right? And so it was very clear. It was what Byron was just talking about, the lies that wealthy people tell themselves or tell to their family. That was clear. And at a certain point, it actually almost made me feel, it made me feel for Ms. LeBlanc, because I was like, wow, this is what she's been taught. This is what she was told. This is her story. And she never had any reason to doubt her grandparents or to doubt her father or to doubt. She never had, for whatever reason, she wasn't there in 63 or whatever. Right. So that was very clear to see that. And then to see Ms. Williams see again the stories that they're telling themselves, Big Mama Ancora, and the dichotomy between the two. One is based on lies, one is based on truth, right? That one is based on lies that everybody wants to tell, and then the other is based on truths that no one wants to hear. Right. So that's a real
based on perspectives too.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought that that was really interesting. I think that even if you don't hit on that particular word, right, perspectives or anything I said, it's like, wow, it's teasing the brain. It's making me think. It's like, oh, wow, this character, you know what I mean? And that doesn't mean I excuse her her egregious stuff, right? I don't excuse her, but it's pretty egregious, right? But at the same time, humanity is coming through, right? And that's part of the stories I feel like we need to tell as well, because that's ultimately the realization that changes people's minds about each other, is that, oh, they're a human being too, just like me. They get happy and sad. Wow, maybe we're not, and then begins the building, and then becomes unity, then might be able to be possible. So that's great. So question 3, was the rap skit an effective way to showcase an evolving unity? And Kimberly, what are our answers? And by the way, we'll wrap this up soon too, so we'll let you know.
Yes. Jermaine says, great touch, enjoyed it, thank you. Someone else wrote, absolutely, the rap skit made it easier to digest such a painful recount. In addition, the use of children was very effective. Another person wrote, yes, after the skit, it changed thoughts of the mother. And then Beverly Liddell says, the rap skit was a very effective way to showcase the unity I've seen in various activities, schools, churches, or public theaters. Our young especially relate to this very well. Someone else wrote, a surprise, but love the rap. As play develops for the stage, I hope we get more. And then Vicky wrote, I think the rap should be stronger and contain rhyme, just like professional rappers do, to catch the listener's attention. So thank everyone for completing the poll. I know Dr. Liddell will take that information and use it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great thing, especially that Vicky's comment. Thank you, Vicky. That's, all of it's great. But Vicky, thank you for homing in on it. So there you go. So what that basically says, Janice, is you got room to play there. You still got room to play, right? So, go play. Go play. Get your son, get him in that recording studio, whatever, whatever it takes, and just go play. So, and which is really kind of what I see with this whole thing. This is, you've got a really great thing going on here. All the pieces are there. Right? And they're really kind of like a car engine and car parts. It's all kind of, the cylinders are firing. I'm a guy, right? So I go to cars, right? The engines, the cylinders are working. It's the timing belt is going good, etc. The car is, you put it in gear and it goes and all that. So all that's happening, but you still have room to play.
Right?
Right. So I encourage you to do that, to play, it's solid what you got, right? It's definitely solid. I mean, you're hearing it, from the fact that how it got people talking about the movement, taking them back to their own memories, their own, Cheryl with her own family, et cetera, et cetera. When you've got an actor like Heidi who says, "Oh my God, it's uncomfortable, but this has to be said." So I'm here to say that. So, here's somebody, all of these actors are helping tell that story and helping get it out there. You know what I mean? And maybe it's only 75 people here. Maybe it's not 75 million, but 75 people is 75 people.
Right.
Right. And that's
thank you, all of you, 75 people.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you. So what I want to thank everybody. We need to wrap this up and let everybody go. Our actors you guys have been great. Heidi, Lance, of course, Kat, of course, Ella, Hannibal, and who am I missing? I'm missing somebody. I know.
Seth and Adrienne.
And Seth, yes.
And Adrienne.
Yeah, so then see, I don't have a cue card in front of me, so so if I don't see their box with their name. But thank you all. You guys have been wonderful. Let me open it up to any final comments, thoughts.
We do have a final comment from George Tukes. He says, writing, acting, and directing are excellent. Black mothers' rage against white people is justified and honest. When we learn who murdered her husband, the attitude and dance between the mothers is perfect. And thank you so much.
Thank you,
And
George.
Heidi
That's
says,
from George
Thanks.
Tukes, one of our playwrights who we read at the festival last year. So thank you, George. George has been a longtime member of the workshop. Thank you, George. Thank you, everyone. Anybody else? Heidi, Lance, Byron, anybody else? I see Georgianne. Anybody else? Any last final thoughts before we let y'all go?
I mean,
Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
Dr. Liddell first.
Oh, I was pointing to you.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I just wrote it, but I just wanted to say it's an honor to help tell the story. So thank you for including me in this. And
You're very welcome. Thank you, Heidi. We're going to keep you in our database, by the way, so you'll be hearing from us in the future because we want to get you back to come and do some more readings with us. Thank you very much for your great work. You're super talented, and we're glad you're out there. You're out there making yourself available as a storyteller and doing this work. It's very important. And Lance, thank you very much. What you brought to your character. Wow. You really brought him to life. It was, like I said, I'll just repeat, the joie de vivre you brought to him, the whole, and Janice, what you gave in the blueprint form really, I think is firing. Was
so much to work with. You gave me too much to work with. I sincerely appreciate it.
And you took it and ran. I loved it.
Seriously.
Well, that's what it was about, and I think I would be correct in saying if Frank Silvera himself were here and seen this, he would also agree wholeheartedly, and he would be behind y'all 100% and say, like I'm saying, thank you for being brave enough to come and be a part of this and to tell this story, and to keep out there and keep your heads up. It's a tough time out there now. It's a very strange, bizarre world. We're living in bizarro land, in bizarro world now, and we're going to be here for a while. But you know what? This too shall pass. As one of our friends in the play tended to say, this too shall pass. Okay, and remember, theater is going on both sides of the fence. So just because something looks all mean and evil and big and huge like the big bad wolf, doesn't necessarily mean it's not a paper tiger. So not to say there aren't real concerns, because there are, and real work that has to be done, because there is. But don't be bamboozled is what I'll say. Just don't be bamboozled. All right, because there's a lot of people out there trying to bamboozle us. So from all different directions, don't be bamboozled. Don't ever fall for the okie doke, as they say. Right?
Great. And on that note, I'm just going to make sure.
Thank you. Take it away, Kimberly. Thank you.
Awesome. I'm going to make sure to remind everybody about our next upcoming reading. We're also going to be in the South, Yazoo, Mississippi, written by Jean Champy. That'll be Sunday, March 30th at same time, 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 4 o'clock Eastern. You can find out more information about that on our websites. And also, if there are any playwrights or actors or directors that want to be a part of our readings, please go to the fsww.org website to submit your information. We love to get new plays. We love to work with new people. And that
and let me just point out our next reading, Yazoo, Mississippi. Mississippi, right? As they say, Yazoo, Mississippi, is a comedy, is a farce. We've been really wanting to do a comedy. We feel like we need more comedies. We need to laugh more. So we're really excited about that. It's a comedy involving newts and petrochemical companies.
Ooh.
And the environment.
And the environment in Yazoo, Mississippi.
My family is from Mississippi, so I will definitely be there tuning in.
Excellent, excellent. Well,
Right.
we're going to expect to hear some thoughts from you, because I know, and hear what you think about what's on those pages. Okay, so we very much look forward. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're super looking forward to that. So, and please, if you can support us, make a donation. Go to our website, thefsww.org. Help support us so we can keep doing what we're doing here. Every little bit helps. So, no donation is too small, no donation is too large, no donation goes unnoticed, no donation is ever unloved, no matter who or where it comes from. So thank you very much. I thank you all for being here with us on a great Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy your evening. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.